Hey, welcome to the Black Ibis Social Club, the best conversationalist, contemporary conversation podcast on Substack and really anywhere on the internet. I'm your host, Alexandra Constantine. I got my co-host, Fisto. What's up, Fisto? Your mic is turned off, but now
Hey,
it's
man.
on.
I got you.
What's up?
I got you. I know how to
And
press
today,
buttons, man.
I know,
Yeah.
and today, this
Today.
very, at October's end, we have a return guest, my favorite return guest of all time, multiple return visitor, Lisa Kuznak, the great author from Substack and all over the place. Welcome, Lisa. Welcome back.
Thanks. Nice to be here.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi.
It's been so long.
It has been a while. I was trying to remember the last time I was on. That was the film episode when we were talking about
87 years ago.
The Great Beauty with
Great
Lisa.
Beauty.
But Lisa, you were also on our last Halloween episode.
I
right?
was.
So that's why I invited you back. And also I was like, it's time for me to invite some guests. And I'm going to invite my favorite guest, Lisa.
That's very nice to say.
So how cold is it up in Canada right now? It's got to be pretty freezing.
I mean, it's frosty at night, but it's, I think it was high of 11 Celsius today.
In English.
I don't know what that is in freedom units. I'm sorry. But but yeah, it's not like you're out in hoodies and stuff, but it's not terribly cold. And but that said, I mean I'm more used to the cold than you guys probably are.
51 degrees.
Yeah,
it's been cold here in South Carolina, man. This whole week, I actually I pulled out my jacket a few times, and I slept with pants on. Gee, it's been cold, man. Like, I know probably Florida is probably like 90 degrees still, huh?
Yeah, we got people down here. I actually heard people complain that it's starting to get cold, and it's like,
babies.
Yeah, we got into like the lower 70s.
Yeah.
I felt a slight chill last night before I went to bed, where it was like, oh, okay, yeah, no, it's coming. And I mean, I'm sitting out there just like, I would watch all of you freeze to death without a single flicker of emotion. Like, yeah, oh, it's cold, 70 degrees, whatever. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of it. Anyway,
it's all about it's all about acclimatization. Like, I would probably die in Florida heat in turn, right? So
yeah, exactly. No, middle August, it gets a little. Ooh,
I was in Florida.
Hot
I was in Florida when I was a kid. Yeah, anyway. And this was back when seatbelts were still metal. 1995, I think this was when I was in Florida.
Oh, like you mean like the pin thing, the clicker?
Yeah, like the whole buckle, the whole thing.
Yeah,
and the seats in the car. Yeah, the seats in the car were leather, and that was the hottest my ass has ever been in a car. And then I go to buckle myself in, and it burned my skin. That was like the hottest I've ever felt a car. So like, I would probably die in and that was March break we were in Florida for. So
people are going to look back. People are going to look back at those old leather seats and the buckles and all that, and it's going to be like an ascetic practice where people induced pain in order to get closer to God.
I mean, we drive a 1991 Chevy Blazer, so yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. It really is. If it doesn't have an ashtray in it, we don't drive it.
I used to have a Mini Cooper Countryman S, cool turbo in it. It was like a custom red. They only made like 1,000 of them or something, and it was named Smog because it had this like how they had these stripes on it. The stripe kind of looked like, I don't know, the Eye of Sauron in a way. And then I bought it the same day I saw the first Hobbit movie, so I was like, I'm just gonna name it Smog. And the license plate actually said Smog like 2 something. Well, it had black leather interior, and it had the coolest feature. It had heated seats, which was my favorite thing. I didn't really need them in California, all right, but it was nice on my butt in those cold mornings, like those cold 60-degree mornings you get in California sometimes. And I liked it, but I ended up trading it in, selling it, and now I went back to being a Toyota supremacist, which is what I am. But hey, for all you guys, everybody's slowly trickling in, joining, getting home from work, or being homeless, or whatever you guys do. There's some. I want to introduce Lisa for you guys, because we have, since Lisa's been on the last movie episode, there's been a lot of new listeners. So Lisa Kuznak is an author. She writes science fiction and fantasy. Some great stuff. I've reviewed it on Substack. Go ahead and tell us real fast about yourself and introduce yourself for the new listeners.
Yeah. So yeah, my Substack is Mechanical Pulp. I used to only post fiction, but lately I've been posting more like essays and just thoughts on things. Nonfiction, I guess. But my fiction is mostly science fiction and fantasy. I have 3 books out. So my first book was Palace. So that's a science fiction horror, good for the season, My second book was The Highwayman Kennedy Thornwick, which is like a literary fantasy, kind of like a fantasy heist, but extra. There's lots of swashbuckling in that one and more. And then my latest book that just came out this year, The Ghosts of Tyros Cole. And that's kind of an adventure sci-fi. Like if you've ever read like Edgar Rice Burroughs, it's kind of inspired by that, but it goes in a different direction. And I'm always working on something. I don't know when my next book's going to be out. I'm hoping for 2027, because like it's still first draft stuff right now, and I've got a couple different things I'm bouncing between. You're
pretty prolific. And for you guys interested, I did review Palace, and Lisa came on and we talked specifically about Palace, so we're not going to talk about more, but I really liked it. It was like an early Star Trek episode mixed with the Twilight Zone mixed with like Midsummer, like the kind of like folk horror in space on a fucked up planet with fungus. And it was really great.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I really liked The Ghost of Tyros Cole. That had a like I said, kind of John Carter of Mars, Burroughs kind of feel to it, swashbuckling kind of adventure in far space. Really fun stuff. Not only is Lisa's writing fun, it's good. It's really good, and it's also like thoughtful. It's like a little. It's like a pulp +1, or +2, really, to be honest. So that's why I really like it. It's like you write pulp science fiction, but I don't want to say modernize it, but you make it in a way very contemporary without taken away from its like roots, and I really like that. And not only that, but I really enjoy talking to you. I mean, for you guys that are on the secret Black Ibis Social Club Russian Telegram channel, Lisa hangs out with us all the time, and we've been friends for a while. You can join the secret Russian Telegram channel by subscribing as a paid member, and they'll give you a QRC code, and then an AI robot is going to show up at your house and download it onto your phone. But yeah, welcome again, Lisa.
I'm always glad to be on.
Fister and I weren't feeling good last week. If you guys noticed, we were gone. We were kind of both under the weather. There was like a string of like sicknesses in my house. Like my daughter's sick, my wife is sick, my daughter's sick, I'm sick, my wife is sick again. It was just on and on. My wife's throat got all swollen. She had to get some steroids. It just wasn't fun. And I was kind of under the weather. And then Fist was like, man, I feel like ass. My voice sounds horrible. So I was like, all right, let's skip it. Let's skip a day, And I was actually going to talk a lot of the stuff we're going to talk about today. I was going to talk about it last week, but it makes more sense to talk about it today because we are, in October, and this is our spooky episode. Now you can go back a year and listen to our last episode where we talked about horror movies and stuff. So I was racking my head, like, what do we want to talk about? And like, do I want to talk about horror fiction? Do I want to talk about, everything? And I will touch on that, I think, because we have Lisa here and she's an author and I'm an author myself. We are going to maybe talk about horror and horror movies and that kind of stuff. And in the chat, you guys can all post your favorite, scary movies, horror movies. In my opinion, I think that The Exorcist is still the king of the horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not like, there's something about it. The C-SPAN Senator live television thing is close behind it somewhere. But yeah, like, let's talk about Halloween. All right. I have some thoughts. Okay. So if you guys were listening to, and what was it, Fisto, like two episodes ago or something, when I was kind of dogging on Halloween, and I was complaining how I feel like it's become very commercialized. And right.
Yeah.
I still agree with that. I still think that Halloween has become horribly commercialized, right? But what I've noticed lately in the last couple of weeks, I'm like, we've talked about how like I've noticed an increase in Christianity and spirituality in Christianity. My Instagram feed and my Facebook feed. Yeah, guys, I have a Facebook. All right. I've had a Facebook since like 2007, like when you still had to be invited to join Facebook. You guys remember that?
Mm-hmm.
That's how old, like that's how long ago my Facebook account is. But I keep it because my mom uses it, and that's basically it. I mean, like I've got some friends that I don't really. That's the only way I can keep in touch with them because they don't have any other social media. But yeah, Facebook is garbage. Like it is like it's like the Walmart of social media right now.
It's terrible. It's not great.
But I've noticed like a string of, maybe it's my age or my generation, but there's an increase in people like becoming Christians, getting baptized, all that stuff, and that's cool. Oh, hey, Sam had a good question. Are you dressing up as anything for Halloween when you take your daughter trick or treating? No, I'm not. My last Halloween costume, and Fisto and Lisa, you guys can tell us your plans for Halloween. My last Halloween costume was Ned Flanders. And I'll find a picture of it. I was Ned Flanders from The Simpsons, and I walked around dressed like Ned Flanders with a Bible, and I was really scary because there's nothing scary than a Protestant. But what are you going to be for Halloween, Fisto?
Probably nothing. I'm that guy. I'll wake up Halloween morning and be like, I'll just forget it's a thing, and November will come and go, and I'll go, oh, that's right, people dressed up. I'm sorry. I'm just.
Do you get lots of kids at your place?
So you're basically
no, we don't. It's
Jew. You're a Jew on Christmas.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm gonna eat all my own candy bars, and I'm not gonna share them with anybody.
Yeah.
We don't get a lot of kids in my neighborhood, and then I also don't have kids myself yet, so it's kind of like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like I'm gonna go out there and social studies teacher going trick or treating by himself. That might cause conversations I don't want to have. So I'll just stay home, relax, and watch a movie with the wife or something.
Nice. All right, how about you, Lisa? You know what? Vista, if you have kids, and when you have kids, Halloween becomes fun again.
Halloween's great with kids. It really is for the little kids. Yeah.
You're in that weird spot. You're in that weird spot where you like, you're too old to trick or treat for like candy by yourself, because that'd be really fucking weird if you're like, that's
pedophilia, kids. That gets you shot down here. Okay.
Yeah, if you knocked on my door dressed in like a slutty like Red Riding Hood outfit, and I would be like, okay, bro, I'm gonna call the cops. Like
I was at Spirit Halloween today.
I'm pulling that bat out from behind my back and smacking you with it.
I was at Spirit Halloween today, and there was a freaking sexy Lilo and Stitch costume. Like,
no, what? Why?
So stupid. Like, they're sexy, everything. Oh my gosh! If you could think of it, they have it there.
Why does the 21st century have to fuck everything? That's what I want to know. Why does it have to fuck everything?
Wait,
Oh
wait,
my
wait,
God.
what? Okay,
Sexy
wait a
fun
second. Wait,
costume.
I'm still. I can't. Wait, I can't think. What was the sexy part? Was it Stitch, like a sexy
It
Stitch,
was
or
a
like a
Stitch
sexy Lilo,
costume. It was a sexy Stitch costume, like the monster,
like the
Yeah.
but
alien?
with the skirt. Yes, with the yes. So you have the thing that goes over your head, but your face is exposed. I should have taken a picture of it. And then the top half, if I recall, had like monster features, like it looked like but then below the waist was just a mini skirt.
That's
It was
gross.
it was a
That's
sexy
weird.
Stitch costume.
That's gross.
It's so
Yeah,
stupid.
see, and it's not even
Oh
not
my
even
gosh.
classy in any way. Just you throw a skirt on something. Okay, there's a skirt on it. Get your dick out. I mean that's about as far as they go with this stuff.
Yeah.
Have I
There
ever
you go.
told
half
you
the
It's got a
guys?
store
skirt.
half the store is just for slutty Halloween costumes now.
Have,
And then the
Yeah,
other half of the
it's
store is freaking garbage dump core. I don't know.
I'm about to
garbage
offend.
dump core.
I'm about to offend some of you guys real fast. You guys ready?
Do it. Do
Sure.
it.
Okay.
Yeah, we're here to
So,
be offended. We're here to be offended.
Many years ago, I made an observation, right? That for some reason, certain people of socioeconomic like dispositions, right, are attracted to different Disney characters or like cartoon characters, right? Like for example, like basketball Americans tend to like Tweety Bird and like like the Bugs Bunny WB stuff, right? You've seen that before, right? Like that's like a trendy
Yeah.
thing, and like at least it wasn't like the late '90s, right? Well, I've noticed that people that really like Lilo and Stitch are always poor.
Hmm.
Like there's like a trailer park vibe to Lilo and Stitch that like there's like certain people that have like this is my favorite Disney movie. And if your favorite Disney movie and all your like Disney like t-shirts and gear and stuff is Lilo and Stitch, you usually live in a trailer park or have lived in a trailer park before. I don't know what it is. Just across the board. It's like
I've actually never watched it, but I think that checks out.
Right. Like look like when you see like remember this. You're going to like focus on this, right? When you see like Lilo and Stitch merchandise, on people, it's always people that have like the kind of the whiff of the trailer to them for some reason. I don't know why. I don't. It's just an observation I made. Okay, you found it. I'm gonna share it. Oh
go.
God, that is just weird looking. Actually,
It's so stupid. Oh my gosh,
yeah.
there was a bunch of them. I think this is actually a few years going now. Freaking sexy minion costumes. And
Can you put that up on
just
the thing so we can see?
Yeah, it won't let me copy the picture, so I'm gonna have to just do the link.
Okay, if you go to movies, they've got a freaking A League of Their Own. Okay.
Sure. Here,
Let's
let me
see.
put it in.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
I'm not brave
Pixar's
enough.
Cars. Let's see if they've got adult. Oh, they have a sexy Disney Cars stuff. So that's cool.
Why?
It's mostly baby clothes, which is fine. And then they have the adult Lightning McQueen costume, but it's for women.
Yeah.
So it's it's almost like a diner kind of looking thing with like a hair tie. I don't know. It's dumb.
Oh, I mean, I've never seen Cars. Okay, anyways, we're talking about Disney
Well,
stuff.
I have two young boys, or they were of the age when Cars was new, that they were like the target audience. So I have watched Cars.
You would think that would be like, you would think that Cars would be the one that like white trash people tend to like, but that's not the case. That like,
they do, but only because there really isn't anything else for boys. There's Toy Story and there's Cars, and that's freaking it. That's
what about
it
Incredibles?
for little boys.
Is that not boy coded?
Which
not
one?
Not enough to put on toothpastes and stuff. I've seen
Really?
Yeah. As far as like Disney franchises go, okay, so you've got I've seen some Fantastic Four lately, but my kids have like grown out of the product placement toothpaste shit. So I mean, I haven't been paying attention. But when they were little, it was Toy Story, Cars, superheroes like Batman, Superman.
Yeah, 'cause I mean, like Buzz Lightyear is like the little boy costume. That's like like, but in the same way, like Lilo and Stitch tends to be like white trash coded. You always like every like Halloween event when there's like little kids around, there's always like the kid dressed like the Grim Reaper with like a knife made of plastic or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's always like, you know, the kid that like fucking like drowns rats in the school bathroom, you know, or like, you know what I mean? It's always like
Alex,
huh?
Alex, did you guys read the reviews for the Stitch costume?
Oh my gosh, no, I didn't. I just started browsing around.
The very first one confirms your theory. The costume is very warm and comfortable with an ultra cute Stitch design. I thought it was a dress, but it's like a big sweatshirt. It's not even a fucking dress. It's not even a fucking proper dress.
Well, no,
looks and feels great on. What about off, Danny? What about off, you little slut?
Yeah, these costumes, they're not like
man.
they're not you know, made well, let's just put it that way, right? So most of the time, so usually I'm the one, actually my husband does most of the handmade like costume stuff. I haven't done a lot of handmade costumes like from scratch since I worked at a fabric store, and that was like Halloween is like it's like Christmas for a fabric store, right? Because everybody is suddenly like, if you only sew one thing a year, it's probably a Halloween costume. So I was at that time a seamstress, right? And for a while, actually, I haven't done it in a really long time, but yeah, store-bought costumes will almost never, ever fit. Most people don't give a shit. Like, you're wearing it one day, so who cares? Right. But yeah, so if you wanted to actually make a slutty costume, learn to sew, because otherwise you're wearing a t-shirt, and so you just look like a freaking dork with a bought costume. Like, if you're gonna go that direction, if you're gonna go for like slutty Halloween costume, learn to sew. That's my advice to all the ladies out there.
Or just wear like lingerie out here.
Here's the most horrifying review, and
horrifying
in my adopted state, in my adopted home state, I'm proud that we feature. My daughter loved this costume. Living in Florida, the dress option was a great alternative to the full body costumes offered in Stitch. Excellent quality for the price, washed well. This is now those kids' pajamas. That's what this is now. It turned into their pajamas after the fact.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, I don't think it's that slutty.
Though,
tame.
It is. I mean, pretty tame compared to some other ones, but yeah, I just the fact that it is. I don't know.
That it exists.
It's weird. Yeah. It's just fucking weird. So,
you guys like how they have the branding right down around the knee, right around the knee where it says Stitch, like in case you don't know.
Just so you don't know. You don't know. Yeah. You know. Now, okay. Well, we're still on this Disney topic before I finish. Okay, so actually, you didn't tell us what your costume was going to be.
Oh, I'm handing out candy.
She showed us.
I'm not.
No, you bought it, didn't you, Lisa? Don't lie to her.
No,
not slutty enough.
I've had the plans.
You're wearing it right now.
I've had the plans for a Morticia costume for years, but I'm always focused on my kids' costumes. But here's the thing: my 15-year-old is way too cool for trick-or-treating now. You know what? He got invited to a Halloween party. I said to him, there better not be fucking girls there, because I will kick your ass if you go to a party with girls. Girls are disgusting. So that's he'll be
dressed. You better not bring home no slutty Stitch.
Yeah, we have standards in this house. So that's my concern. I'm like, oh gosh, they better be playing like Clue or something dorky like that. It better be like a bunch of nerds hanging out. I don't need to worry about my baby boy getting into trouble. I'll kick his ass.
Lisa, you are a science fiction writer. That means you've been around nerdy people. Everybody that's been around nerdy people knows that nerdy people.
I'm in denial. Okay,
comic book people are the most degenerates of all time.
Can I just pretend that he's? Listen. One day your daughter's going to be invited to her first Halloween party, and you're going to be walking around with a freaking
That's true. That's true.
With a freaking
I don't want to
shotgun on
think
Halloween.
about the future yet. Okay.
Yes. Enjoy Halloween, her little child Halloweenness. That's why my younger son, he is, and this is something kind of reflective of like video game culture as a whole right now. Like my kids still play Team Fortress 2, and this is an old game.
Yeah.
They still play it.
Great game.
So my younger son's dressing up as a character from Team Fortress 2.
Which
so Pyro.
Okay.
And one of them dressed up as another one last year, and I don't remember. Oh, I do remember. The soldier was last year's costume. Yeah. And so like last year, like we made like the little like the grenades, and he had like a World War II helmet on, and like he even like practiced the voice and everything. It was so freaking funny. So this year we found him, and it's so because we're in the frozen wastes. When we think of costume ideas, we're always thinking like, okay, can we layer things underneath it because it's probably going to be freezing cold. When I was a kid, there used to be blizzards on Halloween all the time.
Jeez, you got some static in your background, Lisa. Is that you or Fisto?
Okay, I'll mute my mic and then you tell me.
It's you.
Yep.
Turn it back on.
Is it doing it again?
Yeah.
I think it's a truck going by. This happened last time I was on too.
Oh yeah,
A truck went by.
Oh, it's gone.
Yep, that's what it was.
Nice.
So, what the hell was I saying now?
Cold. It's cold. It's freezing.
It's cold. It's freezing cold. Yeah.
Oh God, it's cold! Quick, put on this Stitch dress.
Yeah. So
nice warm.
I'm sure those costumes sell really well up here, but shit. So we're designing his costume. He's got like the red hoodie. He's got the gas mask. Part of the gas mask we bought at Spirit of Halloween, and then we're cutting off the front to put like an actual gas mask front part thing on it. Anyway, red hoodie, oversized so you can dress warm underneath. I haven't found red sweatpants yet, and that's what we're gonna do. And then it has like this like belt thing, but all we could find in the correct design was like high vis. So I'm like, whatever, you can just say that you're wearing a different skin if it's high vis. Who cares? And it's nighttime anyway, so you can
just kind of do.
At least you're not going to get hit by a car, I guess. Yeah. So, but it's also his first year going with just friends. So I'm going to just be sad at home, handing out candy to probably like 7 kids, because we don't really get a lot of kids in our neighborhood at our door.
Do you guys do the trunk or treat thing over in Canada?
Some people do, or like they go to the mall and do trick or treating like in the mall. But like we were still when okay, so don't call like the freaking COVID police in whatever is the statute of limitations yet.
Yeah,
who cares? So during COVID up here, you weren't supposed to do Halloween. We did anyway. And there were a lot of houses that were doing it anyway. And it's really funny because like this whole period of history is just mind blowing. So what a lot of houses did was they had these like pipes set up on their front steps, and they'd toss the candy down like the pipe, like a to maintain social distancing. Bizarre behavior. But anyway, so like we're big on Halloween in this house. We don't stop for pandemics. We're gonna keep on trick-or-treating because everybody's fucking miserable all the time. Give us one day a year where we can go out and have a good time.
Just be normal.
Yeah.
You're just like, fuck, I just be a normal person.
Yeah.
So I'm not doing anything, unfortunately, because I'm working, which kind of sucks. But my daughter has an awesome costume. She is Wednesday, and it's funny enough, she's really into it. She did a trunk or treat thing as Wednesday last week at school, and then yesterday she really loves that, like she loves that show. It's not inappropriate for her to watch, but she watched it anyways, and she was playing Fortnite with my friends, and she got the Wednesday Fortnite skin, and she like basically played in character the whole time, like with that like monotone voice, and I couldn't stop laughing. It was like one of the funniest shits I've ever heard her do. I just got to show you guys. He's ready to go see my last Halloween costume. I'm going to share with you guys, so get ready for it. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. You guys ready?
Flea mortals.
Where is it? Here we go. Here we go. And boom. What do you guys think?
No. That's awesome. That's really good. That's really good.
That was my Mr. Flanders costume there. That was like that's 2023, so it's 2 years ago. Last year I ended up working again, so I didn't really do anything. And for some reason, every time we do Halloween, my daughter's like sick, but this year she's actually not sick. But I can't do anything because I'm working on playing Arc Raiders because it comes out tomorrow at 05:30. So it's very important that I play that all day tomorrow. But yeah, so all right, that was a detour. Oh, before I forget about the Disney thing, so if Lilo and Stitch is like the kind of low whiff of vibingness to it, what is the most aristocratic Disney movie? And in my opinion, it's my favorite Disney movie, and that's 101 Dalmatians, because there's nothing more aristocratic than that weird French animation style that they have, and the villain is basically like a fashion person. I don't know. I like it. It has a cool vibe to it with the London streets all done in that like that weird French Paris kind of style. And Dalmatians are pretty aristocratic in my opinion. So
yeah, of that era of Disney, I would have to go with the Aristocats. I used to love that movie. It's so fun.
Yeah,
and I still sing the songs from it. It's
the racist Chinese one.
Yeah, that's yeah. It's a lot of fun.
That's a
casual racism is always fun.
Right.
But yeah, I would have to go with Aristocats for that era of Disney. And actually, Zsa Zsa Gabor did the voice for the cat. Was it Zsa Zsa or was it her sister? I don't remember.
I think you're right. Yeah.
She also did the voice for the mouse in The Great Mouse Detective. And she also played a very similar character with like this like upper class mouse, and she's like, powdering her little mouse nose, and it's very cute.
I like The Great Mouse Detective. The Great Mouse Detective is one of my wife's favorite Disney movies. Very underrated. I like Robin Hood, which
Robin Hood's really good. Yeah,
not a great Disney movie, but it's one of the I like the vibe of it. I like the vibe of it because I like the animation in The Jungle Book, which is probably
ripped off a lot. They reuse a lot of scenes from Jungle Book in
redrew over like Baloo cells and stuff. I think Jungle Book
same
is
voice actor too for
like
Baloo.
Peak Disney. It's like peak Disney, and I love Baloo. And actually, Jungle Book is like one of the first Disney movies I ever have like memory of seeing as a kid, and I loved. I don't know about you guys, right? But I loved the Disney cartoon Tailspin. I don't know if you guys remember that one.
Yeah,
it's when they had Baloo. He was like basically like a pilot of like of a plane in like Southeast Asia. He's like delivering cocaine or something like that. I don't know what he's doing. He's not delivering cocaine. He's like doing deliveries, which is based on a weird TV show about like a post World War II pilot delivering. Like he's kind of like flying like a local airline in Southeast Asia, and it's called like the Golden Idol or something like that. Tales from the Golden Idol, which is like another really weird, like kind of obscure thing that it's not Disney, but Disney based that entire cartoon, this kid's cartoon, on this weird adult show. It's just a weird thing. But then I don't know, for you 90s people like me, Disney had some peak cartoons around that time, like during like that on California used to be Channel 9, and it was like after school Disney, and it had DuckTales. Darkwing Duck.
I used to like Darkwing Duck and DuckTales a lot. I was really big into anything with the Donald Duck shit.
Yeah, Darkwing Duck was freaking peak, man. That's like basically like
Darkwing
Batman,
Duck was really good.
Duck, and it had all like the Batman like characters in there, kind of, and then it had like, well, it had crossover with like, because like he was like the uncle or cousin of like the ducks from DuckTales. And he also had the robot duck, Mega Duck or whatever in there. It was, I don't know, it was pretty cool. I really liked it. All right, so we're completely off topic. We haven't talked about Halloween as much. So I started with the whole noticing an explosion of people getting into religion, getting baptized, and all this stuff, right? Well, with a lot of that, sometimes, which is amazing, comes a lot of overzealousness, right? And one of the things I've noticed on the interwebs in this overzealous kind of thing going on is anti-Halloween mentality. Like, should we do Halloween as Christians, right? Should we do Halloween as Christians, right? So I prepared this presentation for you guys. Is Halloween a good thing? All right.
Chick tracks. Love those.
You recognized it,
yeah.
Right? So we got chick tracks going on here, right? For you guys not familiar with chick tracks, you want to explain it to us? Because I'm not a Protestant, so I don't read the chick tracks Bible.
Well, I'm not a Protestant either. I'm a godless heathen over here. But so chick tracks are actually, I think they're still, like, I remember last time I had a job, there was one of our customers would drop them off all the time. Basically, they're like think of the satanic panic, okay? And all these like fundamentalist Christians are just like collectively just losing their shit about like everything in pop culture, and like or even I think there was some that were even like anti-Catholic too. And he would basically make these comics and just distribute them for free all over the place. There was one for like if you play D&D, you're gonna wind up being sacrificed to the devil.
Oh yeah, it has like the girl, like
yeah.
the girl,
and then like, oh, my character died in D&D. That means I'm gonna die. And then like the girl like kills her friend or something. It's been a long time since I see it, so I might be remembering wrong. But it's freaking hilarious.
She like killing herself or something.
Yeah,
your kid's gonna kill themselves if they play Dungeons and Dragons.
If you listen to heavy metal, or if you do XYZ, there was a whole bunch that were like that were actual like Bible lessons, but all in this like weird, this like comic book style. And a few of them have been memed, so you've probably seen them. Hold on, I think there's a website devoted to these freaking things. Hold on, it's chick tracks.
Dark Dungeons. Bryant Renninger says Dark Dungeons. I think that was the name of that chick track.
Okay, so here's the Wikipedia thing. Chick tracts are a short evangelical gospel tract in a comic book format, originally created by American cartoonist Jack Chick in the 1960s. His company, Chick Publications, has continued to print Chick's work, as well as tracts in a similar style by other writers. Yeah, express controversial viewpoints, including strong anti-Catholic views and criticisms of other faiths. Unsurprising. So these were, as someone who's grown up in a more secular culture, these were always kind of looked at as specimens of, unfortunately, a lot of people, when they think of Christians, they think of people like this who put these out, which is unfortunate. And I've come to realize that as an adult, but as a teenager, like, this is the sort of shit you think of, I guess.
Right. No, that's absolutely right. It is the you think of the people that are like, you're going to hell if you play Dungeons and Dragons, or Harry Potter's dark magic, and it's going to send you straight to hell if you go to Universal Studios and enjoy Harry Potter or something like that. Exactly what you would think of. Well, I actually, while you look for that, there was a reason why I brought this up, right? Because okay, in my opinion, okay, pay attention real quick, everybody. In my opinion, if Protestant types, neo-pagans, and Reddit atheists all agree on something, it's fucking wrong, right? Because all three of those categories is filled with retards, right? And so if they all unanimously agree on something, it's extra retarded. All right. And what we're talking about here is Halloween being a pagan satanic holiday, right? So all three of those groups think that Halloween is a pagan satanic holiday, right? Because all three of those groups are retarded, therefore they're wrong. All right. All right. Like, and we know for a fact that all three of those groups are retarded. Therefore, their opinions are wrong. So why are they wrong? So what am I trying to say here is the big argument against Halloween, right, from a religious standpoint and Christian standpoint, is that it is satanic, is the pagan holiday, right? And that idea is absolutely wrong, right?
Yep.
Halloween is not a pagan holiday. Halloween was never a pagan holiday. Oh, but Alex, Halloween used to be shaman and the Celtic druids. No, shut the fuck up. Okay, that is wrong and fake. Okay, there is no historical records of any Celtic druids celebrating Halloween. All right, whatsoever, at all. The whole idea of Halloween being a pagan holiday comes from late 18th, 19th century anti-Catholic Protestant propaganda, aka chick tracts type stuff,
Yeah.
right? That was picked up later on in the 60s and 70s by, Chick and the rest of his nonsense, right? And adopted by the neo-pagans as fact. But there's no historical, archaeological, ethnographic, and what do you call it? A folklorical record of Halloween having any connection with ancient pagan rituals or any of that stuff. All that stuff is made up, and it got that connection became popular in the late 19th century with the Golden Bow, right? Golden Bow was kind of like the first ethnographical religious study of comparative religions. Unfortunately, it jumped to all sorts of conclusions, and it connected all kinds of like legends and stuff that had nothing to do with each other. And it connected like the druids to Stonehenge, which there's no archaeological evidence, by the way, guys, about any of that. The whole druids worshiping at Stonehenge, none whatsoever. It's all like it's about as real as neo-paganism is, right? But it's all comes out of this like late 19th century romantic era, and then taken up. A lot of the Halloween to paganism connection is a strictly anti-Catholic Protestant idea, right? So what is Halloween now, right? I mean, it's a very complicated issue that like I said, we can do an entire like historical series on Halloween and different like holidays. One thing we have to keep in mind is that traditions grow and change.
Yeah.
Right. Everything we do isn't like we add and take away and add and take away, and different things change. Like a good example, guys. Do you think that the pagans carved pumpkins? The pagan druids carved pumpkins? The obvious answer is no, because fucking pumpkins are a New World squash, right? There was no pumpkins in fucking Europe, right? So pumpkins themselves and jack-o'-lanterns, and people go, well, but they carved like beets or something like that. Shut up.
Turnip,
okay? Yeah, turnips, right? We know they did that. But the idea of the pumpkin is tied, the jack-o'-lantern is tied with Halloween, right? So that itself shows that we have a growing tradition, right? And our modern contemporary celebration of Halloween is not pagan. It is a outgrowth from old Christian ideas, right? So what are we talking about here, right? What's the idea of All Hallows Eve, right? AKA All Saints Day. Right. Halloween itself, its earliest roots come out of it's actually a very early Christian celebration, right? Very early in Christianity. And it's during the Roman persecutions when tons of saints were being made, tons of martyr saints were being made, right? And we're talking about like the Romans killing, Christians in the Colosseum and all that stuff, right? And it got to the point where there was way too many martyrs to celebrate them on individual days, right? So the early Christians decided to celebrate All Saints Day, which is basically all of the other saints that don't particularly have a day that gets celebrated, or it's a day where, like, martyr saints and saints that, sacrificed themselves for God, were martyred, all that type of thing, because there was too many martyrs, basically, right? And the initial church, right, the Orthodox Church, celebrates All Saints' Day right after Pentecost, right around Pentecost, right? Which is actually like in the spring. But around very early, Western Christianity, this is even pre-schism, the Western churches decided to move the holiday, right, the celebration, to October, the end of October, and they moved it to November 1st. So the Roman Catholics celebrate All Saints' Day on November 1st, the first Sunday, or I think it's the first Sunday or of the month, right? And the Orthodox Church keeps it back in the spring. Now, where a lot of the traditions around Halloween come from, right? Come from local customs that got adopted into stuff, right? So what's the whole trick-or-treating or candy thing comes from, right? A lot of the Christian holidays, right? It is Asperger's. It is. A lot of the Christian holidays and a lot of the Christian, like early Christian stuff, had a lot of almsgiving. There's a lot of almsgiving, right? Like we're giving food to people. You guys might be, familiar with hot cross buns, right? Where they're an Easter celebration in Roman Catholic Church, and they make bread with a cross on it, and they give that out, right, to the poor and stuff, right? And the Halloween candy tradition comes out of that, basically, right? You still have like alms cakes and holy cakes and that kind of stuff. You have that a lot in a lot of the Christian holidays, right? In Christmas and stuff, with carolers getting stuff, right? Getting the nog, for example. But it's the same kind of tradition, right? And you also kind of celebrate. You have a lot of like local celebrations where, like, like, why do we light bonfires and watch them go down? Well, in the same reason why we light candles, right, for the dead in church, right? For us Orthodox Christians, right? We light candles and we watch the flame go down, right? We do all kinds of stuff that people go, oh, it's pagan. Well, it's not pagan, right? It's been Christian for 2,000 years, right? But there's this idea that every single Christian holiday is some sort of pagan holiday underneath, which is truly a Reddit-tier atheist concept that was invented before Reddit-tier atheism existed, right? And you notice that a lot of this pagan traditions that people get accused of and stuff are actually really just Protestant complaints about the Roman Catholic Church in America, right? It's like, oh, those pagans, so a lot of like, and this because, how do you know it's bullshit, right? You know this because every complaint that a Protestant type has against Halloween, right, is you can actually apply to our Christmas celebrations, right? Like, oh no, Santa Claus and that kind of stuff. That's pretty paganian vibes, right? We do mistletoe, we do all this stuff, right? Now, we can still have very serious religious holidays like Christmas, where we celebrate the birth of our Lord, but we can also have local traditions on top of that, right? And ultimately, right, what is the point of a day like Halloween, right? The point of a day like Halloween is ultimately we're thinking about, it's there for us to think about the afterlife, right? That's actually the way I look at it best, right? It's a time for us to think about, the end, right? Passing through, moving into, you think about spirits and people that have gone before us, and you think about, like, kind of like I would say a morbidness. There's a morbidness to it, right? But it's also a time to celebrate with your family and have a good time. So if your kids go out there and they're dressed up like slutty, what's his name, Stitch, and you get to know your neighbors and you get to spend time on the street getting candy and hanging out with your friends and stuff, right? Is that a bad thing? right? Is that a horrible thing?
Nope.
No. You come home and then you'll just be like, hey, thank God for having a great time with our friends and family. We got to eat a bunch of candy. We got to watch some scary movies. And now we're going to move on to the next thing, right? That's how you should treat it from a Christian perspective, right? You're going to have a good time with your friends, with your family. Then you're going to come home and you're going to realize, oh, it's all make believe. It's all pretend, right? Nobody, people go, but it's wrong to be scared. It's not wrong to be scared, right? Like enjoying horror fiction, enjoying horror movies, enjoying all that stuff. That's a good thing, right? When we're watching a horror movie or reading a horror novel or anything like that, we want to be scared, right? Because in a way, it's like a vaccine, right? It expresses those fears out and open. And then we realize it's silly, right? When you go into a fake haunted house and the guy pops out at you and he's dressed as a clown or whatever, you're not really scared. Okay. You might be like startled. You might be like fun scared, right? But nobody's really scared, right? You're just having fun, right? And in a way, you're making fun of those fears, right? You're making fun of that darkness that is out there in the world. And I always find it really funny when, you have like kind of like born again type Christian people go, oh, I don't want my kids walking around dressed like witches and stuff, and all this darkness and stuff. But then they'll let their kids go to like public school where like the purple haired trans demon is their teacher. That's a lot more scarier than any freaking Halloween clown, bro. Okay, I'll take 100 Jason masks, than some trans demon, teaching your kids, right? That's scary. You know what's scary? The economy. That's scary. Okay. All right. War in the Middle East and Ukraine. That's terrifying. All right. All that stuff is scary. A clown, walking down the street asking for candy for fun. That's not scary, guys. All right. Like that's actually fun community, stuff. Right. Now, like I said in the previous episode, I don't really love the gross commercialization of Halloween, right? Like if we paganized, it's like we took what used to be a Christian holiday of like remembrance and that kind of thing, and we've kind of commercialized it in the the 20th century. And the history of Halloween is fascinating. If you guys ever want to read on about it, it was brought to the United States by Irish and Scottish Catholic immigrants. You're kind of like Irish, mostly Irish is where it comes from. And it survived in the immigrant community because if you guys remember, your early American Protestants didn't even celebrate Christmas, right? Halloween and Christmas were brought to the United States together because the early Puritans thought that Christmas itself was a pagan holiday and they did not do anything Christmas.
Is my mic making noise again?
No, like it sounded like a B-1 bomber flew over your house.
Yeah, there's lots of trucks outside. I think did I mention there's construction on my street? I was hoping it'd be done by now, but
that's fun. It adds flavor to it.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? Like your early Christians in America did not celebrate Christmas. They would find a Christmas tree as offensive as a pumpkin jack-o'-lantern. Okay. All right. And it's completely like both Christmas is mostly made popularized by German immigrants and then Victorian fiction from Charles Dickens. And Halloween itself was mostly through Irish immigrants. So they're both basically foreign kind of concepts that became American and therefore re-exported back. Of course, Americans, we commercialized both of them, turned both of them into disgusting plastic, effigies of like consumerism and sent it back out to the world. So now every Santa Claus looks the same and every Christmas tradition is the same, some Home Alone type thing. But ultimately, right, if neither of those concepts were pagan, they became pagan. They became modern 20th century, 21st century machine techno paganism, right? Which where the focus, went away from with the Christmas, the focus went away from Christianity and the birth of Christ and family and community. And the same thing with Halloween, where the focus went away from, looking back at the saints, at the deceased and kind of like, doing a community event, right? And it went into, buy stuff, put grotesque giant clown werewolves outside your front lawn, and now everybody's house has a million lights on it. I don't know if you guys have noticed in your area the increase of like Halloween lights. Like it used to be like just Christmas lights. Now everybody has Halloween lights. And now, so like my street is like a different color. Like people have those permanent lights on their houses, which I fucking hate. I don't know what it is. I hate those, right? And they change the color patterns every holiday. So it's like my street is always lit up. It's like red, white, and blue on 4th of July. Now it's like orange and purple all fucking month. And then it's going to switch into being like just like yellow or like orange for Thanksgiving. Then we're going to go to Christmas colors. Like there's no darkness in my neighborhood anymore. It's just those idiotic lights constantly. But that's the problem, right? The problem is the paganism isn't OG. The paganism is modern, right? It's this worship of like kind of a commercialization of the holidays, taken away from and that's where my concern is. So no, I don't think that celebrating Halloween and taking your kids out trick-or-treating is an anti-Christian thing or a pagan thing whatsoever. I think you should have fun with your kids, do stuff in your community, enjoy yourself. Don't be a Jew on Christmas, okay? That don't be that house, right? Enjoy. But if you're going to take a Christian approach to it, right? Everything you do should be smart, right? We're smarter than that, right? And we're going to approach that and say, you know what? We're going to celebrate Halloween, and maybe you're not going to let your daughter wear the slutty Stitch costume, right? Be like, hey, we're having fun, but we're having fun in a good way. Maybe you're not going to decorate your entire yard with like grotesque monstrosities or something like that, and you're going to focus on what matters, which is like spending time in the community, having a fun party. I mean, the Halloween party itself comes out of the Black Death, right? And it's the whole idea of the Danse Macabre, where entire villages and towns would have these huge parties, and they would say, it's all the dead of the plague, and they would all dress up in costumes, usually skeletons and stuff, and just basically celebrate, like, we're going to die of the plague, yay, And that's where a lot of the Halloween party kind of concept comes from. And what we're going to do, though, what we should do is not be retarded. That's kind of the key, right? We should not be dumb, right? We should not like absorb dumb ass propaganda meant to discredit a fun, good thing, right? And if, like I said, if Protestant chick tracts, the Reddit atheists and neo-pagans all believe something, it's probably wrong, right? That's like a good thing. Like if you look at things like run it by something, if all three of them agree on something, it's probably wrong. You should probably not do it. Right? Yeah. And Brian says in the chat, the thing for Halloween is it should be dark. Your kid needs to steal the self to walk down that dark street and go up to the neighbors to ask them for things. We all know it's a setup. They are going to give them things, but it's a rite of passage for a child. Absolutely. And that's exactly what's important. Halloween is like one of the first like times where like most kids get to go out at night,
Yeah.
Like most kids are in bed before like Halloween time, right? Like at 7:00 or whenever it gets dark. It's dark around 6, but it's still pretty light outside right now here. And it's the first time where like you let them stay up, you let them walk around at night, and that's like a rite of passage. That's like fun, it's like, and then they get to go trick-or-treating by themselves. There's a reason why, if you look at so much like media, right? So many movies, like a good example is Stranger Things. There's those episodes of them walking around in Halloween at night, and they're doing trick-or-treating at night by themselves and stuff. That's because that's like a rite of passage for so many American kids, right? I remember when I was first allowed to walk around on Halloween, and you get to be something you're not. You get to be something cool, right? Like, like a monster, a vampire, or a Stitch, or something like that, and it's important, right? And it's not evil. It's not pagan. It's not, you're not, everybody knows you're playing and having fun, right? You're not invoking the devil or whatever nonsense, right? And you're going to go home and you're going to take off your costume and you're going to pray before bed with your family, and you're going to wake up the next day with a bellyache because you ate like 50 like Snickers bar, those little mini Snicker bars and stuff, Like, and then you're going to talk about it with your friends in elementary school or middle school the next day. and then you're going to look forward to it until next year, and that's what is really fun. And just don't be that person. Okay. Don't be that person that ruins it for people, and don't think in like, I don't know. I feel like this mindset is like dumb, like, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
I had a friend when I was really little. And he was like the only kid in the neighborhood who wasn't allowed to do Halloween. Like his parents would give out candy, but he wasn't allowed to participate in Halloween. He also, I think there was 1 year where they let him dress up as like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle character, but he wasn't allowed to have any weapons with it, right? I remember that. And I think it was a bumblebee or something that year. Anyway, this was like 1992 or something. Anyway, so where was I going with this story? Right. He wound up being a drug addict. So like,
Oh yeah. Of course.
Whatever. You're not allowed to play with guns. He was not allowed to play with guns. He was not allowed to play with weapons. But when we played outside, there was always a stick he found, and that wound up being a weapon. So like, that's just what boys do, right?
Right.
But his parents, what's interesting is that they were French Catholic, I think, but that's not why. The reason why was because they were these like they worked at the local like psychiatric center. They were psychiatric nurses or whatever, and they were very highly educated, and they knew what was right for children's development and all this stuff, right? And then as their kid wound up being like a drug addict or whatever.
Well, I've said this many, many times, right? Because
I think he's better now. I think he's better now, but he went through a bad spat there.
Right. You and I like have talked about this in the past, where like we talked about like what's appropriate for children and what's not appropriate. And I am very loose with what I allow my daughter to do,
Mm-hmm.
Like I let her play Fortnite, and I let her watch rated R movies, and I let her do all that stuff, right? Because I sit down with her and I do all this stuff with her,
Yeah.
And I don't think that my daughter is going to become a, mass shooter headshotting people because she headshots people on Fortnite. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think exactly the opposite, right? Because she's not going to, but she's going to outgrow it, and she's going to probably think it's silly and stupid by the time, because she knows it's a video game. She knows it's for fun, and, like I said, like I let her watch The Thing, the one of the best horror movies in my opinion, and she thought it was stupid. She's like, "His name is Scary Dad." It's dumb. It's like, there was nothing to it, and it's like, and you just like every single sheltered Christian type, whether it was a sheltered Christian or a sheltered that breed of child, like your friend, which is like the progressive kind of liberal sheltered, the kid that like the biggest crime they could do is like, make a finger gun at somebody or something like that, those are the ones that end up eating people when they're adults. All right. You know what I mean? Like, it's just how it turns out, like my Ned Flanders costume was kind of a dig on my wife. I was Ned Flanders because my wife was not allowed to watch The Simpsons when she was growing up. Right. So, she doesn't get any of the jokes, anybody that's in our generation knows all the inside jokes from The Simpsons. I mean, even Fisto, who's probably like 10 years older than us, he's not. The jokes, right? Like, and if you don't know the jokes from The Simpsons, man, you're just like, are you even a millennial, right? Like, are you an old millennial or like a late Gen Xer? And my wife was like, she did not understand any of like sexy Ned Flanders, like that joke, like, damn you, sexy Ned Flanders. She didn't get it at all. Doesn't get any of those jokes. And as her parents didn't let her.
The episode is playing in my head right now.
The skiing episode. And like, it's just because she never got to watch that. She lost those references, but and she wasn't. Her parents were irrationally, like, from what I gather, they were like not like super strict, but at the same time would pick like one irrational thing to ban.
Hold on, my kid's making.
Tell your kid to shut up. I'm sure. No Halloween for you.
We're on the podcast now. There's no children.
But right, like because like you randomly ban something and then eventually they come around to it and they discover it like, oh, this wasn't a big deal. This is just a funny
Yeah.
TV show and it's not going to turn me into a Satan worshiper, you know? And yeah, and then you start not trusting your parents at all. And
Mhm.
if you don't
Yeah.
trust your parents, then you start trusting the real scary people. The
Yeah.
real
Yeah.
scary
I
people.
think
You know what I mean?
I think a lot of what we're describing and a lot of what you're talking about is a symptom of the managerial bureaucratic existence that we all live in. Like what Brian just said in chat about the new tradition of condemning the kids who steal all the candy. Yeah, they suck, but the first failure was putting the bowl out. Those houses failed to show up, meet the neighbors, and personally dole out the candy. I mean, yeah, you should have all your fucking candy stolen because you just basically insulted the neighborhood by just dropping it out front and saying, "Here's your candy, go away." You know, and
Right.
talking
In the
about
defense of people of leaving the candy out though, like when you have little kids and you still want to like give out candy, like you might only go trick or treating if the kids are really little. You might only be out of the house for a couple blocks and then you come back, right? So it really like
right,
luckily this hasn't happened to us, but like when my kids were really little and we did do that, luckily it never happened to us where all the candy was stolen, but that's usually why. It's usually because you are participating and then you come home and then you give out candy for the rest of the day. At least in our house and people that I know.
yeah, I would
Yeah.
I would say that's the more traditional way of looking at it.
Yeah.
But like with the I was looking through the chick tracts and stuff and
Mhm.
some of the other things. There's a product for everything. There's a rule. If you just follow this one rule, if you just buy this one product, if you just do this one thing,
Mhm.
it'll be fine. Everything's going to work out great. If you just ban your kid from this one particular thing, everything's going to be perfect. And at the
Yeah.
end of the day, at the end of the day, all we're trying to do is take the easy way out because as moderns, we're only capable of taking the easy way out. We have
Mhm.
no idea how much work has to be done, how much stuff has to be rebuilt for
Mhm.
any of this world to make sense anymore. And I think, Alex, that's what you're getting at when you're talking about
Right.
this Halloween stuff. I was reading some of the materials that you sent us to prepare for this, and it's just modern people are lazy. We're lazy sons of bitches who don't know anything. So of
Right.
course, nothing actually works in the long run.
Well, one thing that I've always so one thing that I've always like had an issue with, and I've noticed, and this is not just an attack on religious people; it's an attack on really all parents, right? Is there's a lot of people, there's a lot of parents, and there's this trend in parenting, and it's probably a trend that's been going on for all eternity, you know. But there's a parent a thing with some parents where they take on aesthetic qualities, right? Where they take on things, they'll do things like they'll say something like, "Oh, I'm not letting my kids have any technology," right? But then
Yeah.
they'll spend their entire day at work staring into a computer, right? So you're
Mhm.
saying that your kid's not going to need to learn how to use a computer, you know?
Mhm.
Right? Like, or you'll have parents like, "Oh yeah, I'm never getting my daughter or whatever a cell phone, and I'm not going to let them ever look at Instagram or anything like that." But then they'll spend all evening, doom scrolling through Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, right?
Mhm.
Um, or they've done all this stuff in the past. They've watched all the rated R movies and all this stuff, and they are basically cutting themselves off. It's like those parents that become vegetarians, right?
Mhm.
And then their kids are vegetarians by default, unfortunately,
Mhm.
and you're like, that's not fair to your kid, right? He didn't choose to become a philosophical vegetarian or a vegan, right? You're
Mhm.
forcing that upon him. You had a life of eating meat or, drinking or whatever, right? But now you're forcing this asceticism onto your kid, even though you yourself are often a hypocrite and do it anyways, or have done it in the past, but you're never letting your own kid get to that element, right? Now, in the Orthodox Church, for example, in our faith, right? We do a lot of fasting. We do a lot of fasting. We're getting ready to do like a big fast coming up, right? That's going to start like in November and it's going to go all the way to Christmas, right? And I don't make my daughter do it, okay? Because she I don't think it's fair for her to take on a religious fast that doesn't like it has to be her choice. She has to want to do it, because if I force her to do it, it's just me forcing her to do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I talk about it, I explain why we do that, and the majority of the meal, all the meals I make meet the fast requirements, right? Which are not super strict, well, somewhat, right? But ultimately, like if my daughter wants a cheeseburger from Wendy's, I go get her a cheeseburger from Wendy's, right? Why? Because I want her to be the one to decide that she wants to fast. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I want her to be the one that decides, like, I don't force my daughter to pray before bed. Guess what we do? We pray before bed. Right. And matter of time, a lot of times she's the one that actually like takes the lead and like has all the prayers memorized and does all the prayers, I don't force her though. If she says, I don't feel like praying today, Dad, we're not doing it. I mean, she's not doing it. I'm going to do it and I'm going to fast, but I'm not going to make her do it. I want her to come to her own religious, spiritual, like, attainment, right? I lead by example and I explain why I do things and why, but I'm not going to like ban things or, what I mean? Now, of course, there's obvious things that we ban and we keep away from. I'm not going to, leave pornography in my house or let her watch rated R adult movies, that are like, beyond her understanding. Right. I'll sit down and watch like a movie like Terminator 2, which is technically rated R, but I don't really think it's rated R, right? And I explained the issues or like Jaws or something like that. But ultimately, right? Like I don't force her on anything, right? And I'm not going to be like, oh, you can't watch Harry Potter because it's got witchcraft in it, One, that'd be retarded. Two, that would, like if I truly believed that Harry Potter, for example, was filled with witchcraft, right? And like evil witchcraft instead of just milk toast retardation, because that's what it mostly is. And even though I like it, right? I would sit down and watch it with her and explain, this idea is not really good, or this is why they're wrong, or this is why this episode or like this part of the movie or the book is improper, right? Like, my wife reads every night to my daughter. We read to her out loud, and my daughter reads on her own. That's part of her homework, right? And by the way, like I was reading how you guys' conversations in Telegram about the homework, the reading, and my daughter's school curriculum is actually really good. They give tons of options of books to read, and like they like track their reading, which is really cool actually. Awesome. But she does her own reading on her own, but then in bed before we fall asleep, my wife or I will read a book, and like, we read out loud, and the books we pick are always books much higher level than my daughter's reading skill. Right.
Yeah.
And then we do that because we want her to fully understand the vocabulary and get a deeper kind of knowledge. It's gotten to the point where, unfortunately, I've noticed that because of my daughter has like a very sophisticated understanding of like structure and themes and like story, that she finds a lot of her age appropriate books really boring. So she's starting to read like much higher level. She reads like a 5th grade level, I think.
Yeah.
But currently, my wife we're just finished. We're actually in the last chapter. She read The Hunger Games, which is a YA novel. It's got a bunch of killing in it and stuff, but it's surprisingly really good book, right? I ignored it when it was like the big thing. I remember like maybe a decade or so ago, Hunger Games was like a pretty big deal. It was like right on the tails of Twilight and that whole era. But I just like, oh, everybody's reading it. I don't want to read it. Plus, I don't read YA, And my wife's reading it to her, and it's actually like, I'm like, I stay in the room and listen until it's done. I'm like, I don't know what happens to Katniss and Peeta and stuff, And what's interesting about that kind of stuff, by doing that as a family, doing this like, kind of enjoying a book or a movie together, we can actually talk about some of the ideas that go on in the books, right?
Yeah.
Like with Hunger Games, there's tons of stuff about like, the value of human life, the guys in the Capitol being complete and total like tyrants, and having a complete and total like inhumane disregard for the people in the districts, and kind of like poverty and hunger, because that's an issue that comes up in the book a lot. And there's so much we can talk about, and there's so many like ideas, like we'll finish the chapter and we'll sit there and talk about it, like, what'd you think about that, how do you think she felt about that, and that kind of stuff. And that is so valuable. And to lock yourself out of that human experience, right? Because one thing we have to realize is that we cannot go and become monastic monks with our family. All right.
Mm-hmm.
You, Fisto, right? Lisa, listeners, right? You can go, you have the choice, right? Or you need a blessing from your priest, right? But you still have the choice to become a hermit or some kind of a monastic hermit living in the desert or in a cave. And you have every right to forego the modern world, as long as you pay taxes or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But it is unfair for you to take your family with you on that journey, right? Unless they are willing participants, right? And this is my opinion, right? It is not fair for you to do that because they didn't choose that, right? They didn't choose to forego things. You know what I mean? Like, it's not fair for them to do that, right? And the reality is our children are going to leave our houses and be out in the world. They already are out in the world, right? My daughter's 7 years old and she comes home from school and she teaches me crazy stuff that I'm like, what are you talking about? Where'd you get, like, what is 6'7"? What is 6'7"?
Oh, God. Oh, please.
Yeah.
I want to get away from that, please. I don't know what it
right.
is. Kill it with fire.
Right. Me and Lisa know.
That.
Yeah, me and Lisa know from having children, and then Fisto, from teaching children. So you probably heard all the 6'7" stuff. But we have to be, we have to know what the hell's going on, and we have to prepare our children to go out there. We cannot raise bubble children because we're not going to always be there for them, right?
Yep.
It's like that fantastic, like, what is the, I'm gonna misquote it, right? And one of you guys, if you can find it in the chat, that fantastic C.S. Lewis quote about dragons, in fantasy, right?
Yep.
Like, our books are supposed to have dragons in them because they're not teaching our children that dragons exist or are real. They're teaching our children that dragons exist and are real and can be defeated, right? And that's important, right? That's really the key, right? And you cannot put your children away in this like Chick Tracts world that's locked away. And look, I'm sure there's exceptions to the rule, and I'm sure this is just me being anecdotal, right? But every single one of the people I knew that grew up in these kind of like isolated kind of Christian or like super like progressive like lockdown families ended up pretty shitty. They became the worst apostates and the worst, degenerates and that kind of stuff.
There's a reason why it's like pretty much a trope or a stereotype or whatever you want to call it of these like, overprotective girls. They go to college for the first time and they're like the biggest whores on campus. Like, just they go. It's not. It's a stereotype for a reason.
Right. I correct myself. Crusader King is correct. It was Chesterton, G.K. Chesterton that said that quote, not C.S. Lewis. Right. They're both British guys.
Yeah, whatever. Who cares?
They all look the same. They all look the
same.
It was well, yeah, they're both kind of big dudes. They were kind of big dudes. But yeah, I mean, dude, I can tell you off the top of my head 5 girls I've known that, one of the like the straight A student, like blonde girl, super, like cheerleader type, gonna go off to college and stuff. Her mom was like a super control freak and that kind of stuff. Yeah, porn. That's what she ended up doing, right?
Yep.
And then another girl I knew that was like the super Christian Protestant girl, was like the head of like the youth group associations and all that stuff, ran into her a decade later, just got out of jail for selling heroin. You know, it's just how it happens. And these people are from like they're both from like pretty high socioeconomic, foundations. So you know what, like the modern world is gonna one shot you, man. And it's just the truth, right? The modern world is gonna one shot you. All right. And
well, even if you look at like Rumspringa, or however it's pronounced there, that Amish thing where they let the kids experience the modern world and whatever, most of them choose to go back, right?
Right.
And the ones that don't choose to go back are almost always from the ones. Well, I don't have a whole lot of Amish where I live. It's more Mennonite to the west of me, and yeah, I know a lot of people who have left the Mennonite church and became degenerates. Like, just, yeah. Because you can't go back. If you choose not to go back after Rumspringa or whatever, you're basically ostracized from your family anyway. So you're like kind of double fucked. Like, well, I'm already kicked out of the homestead, so I might as well, And they can't mentally cope with the ease of access to all this. I guess you could call it sin. Like, there's alcohol everywhere, there's drugs everywhere. It's
right.
Just too easy.
People need to abandon the idea that the United States or the West in general is in any way Christian, because it's a techno neo-paganism that is just gonna, I mean, it's throwing them to the wolves. It's throwing them to the lions.
Right. Well, if you look at the great example of the early Christians, right? The early Christians, in Rome, they did not go off into the mountains and hide. All right. They did not go off into the mountains and hide. Okay. They did not go live in, the majority of them continued to be Roman citizens, right? They continued to do their jobs. They continued to be senators and soldiers and everything in the Roman Empire. And that's how Christianity spread, by them continuing to live in as great examples of Christianity in the world, right? Sects and cults that retreat from the world and lock themselves up don't become world religions of truth, okay? Or they get locked into local kind of mindsets and tend to end up bad, Branch Davidian type stuff. A lot of the Anabaptists, they all end up, they go the thing is, they go to hide from the world, but the problem is you cannot hide from the world, and the world follows you, right? Because the world is actually inside of you. It's not the external. The problem is not an external problem. The problem is you internally, right? It's like it's your operating system in a way that needs to be fixed, not the outside world. And then the true religious Christian mindset is, you got to fix yourself, right? You got to fix how you process the information and the externalities, and then react properly. Because if you're busted on the inside, which most of us are, it doesn't matter that you go live in your own, hidden community of weird Anabaptist Branch Davidians, right? You bring that busted spirituality with you over there, and then you get all kinds of stuff like, the Munster Rebellion and that type of thing, right? Or, you embrace crazy spirituality like not the Waco guys, but the guys that drank the Kool-Aid, and all that kind of stuff. Jonestown, right? And a lot of that concept is like, you can't escape from it, because you see this, like, you just recreate the world in a microcosm. After all, the Puritans that were the first, Northeastern Americans, right? They failed, right? They couldn't do it because they did the same stuff that the regular world does, right? The Mormons are another great example, right? Some of the biggest degenerates I've ever known in my life were ex-Mormons, right? There's something about, like, when the whole oh man, I forgot already. When the whole murder of Charlie Kirk happened, right? I was like, people are like, oh, Alex, like it has to be some. No. There's nothing shocking about a Mormon dude doing that or an ex-Mormon guy doing that, because I've known Mormons. All the ex-Mormons are some of the craziest people I've ever met. Like there's just something about like growing up like that, and then like once they just break.
Have you ever watched Orgasmo?
Yeah, no, that's a great example. It's a pretty funny movie. That's
funny.
Trey Parker. That's like Trey Parker's first. Matt Stone and Trey Parker's like first movie.
No, their first movie was Cannibal the Musical.
Oh yeah.
And then they did
Orgasmo.
Orgasmo,
yeah. But yeah, like that stuff breaks their brains, man. I don't know what it is. I mean, because they're like, oh, well, I drank a Coke and now I'm going to hell. So might as well go, if drinking a Coke or a sip of coffee sends you to hell, then you might as well just do porn at that point. You know what I mean?
Might as well,
like, it's one of those things where like, I guess I had a Frappuccino at Starbucks and it wasn't decaf. So now I'm going straight to hell. So I'm going to go full blown. I'm going to go, full blown retard and go all the way now. And that's the kind of mentality that these guys have. And it's not good. You don't want your kids doing that, guys. Right. All right. Fisto is I hear in the corner quiet because he's actually thinking of his Halloween costume. He's going to be Orgasmo for Halloween.
I hope so.
Yes. 100%. 100%.
Have you ever seen that movie?
Coffee. I haven't. No, I've heard of it, but I've not seen it. But yeah, it sounds like totally up my alley.
It has fucking Ron Jeremy's in it. Oh my God. It's you don't see anything. It's a comedy. Like you don't actually like see anything. But so on the tier of millennial teen brain rot, it's one of the greater ones. Like Basketball was pretty funny. I think Orgasmo was way funnier than Basketball, but Basketball was also pretty good.
They filmed that on my friend's street. Like I remember when that movie was being filmed, Basketball, and they shut down her street, and where I was like, "That's some stupid movie being filmed here," and we ended up seeing it afterwards. I'm like, "This movie's stupid." Yeah, but it was funny.
Well, the funny thing about their movies is that they know they're being stupid. Like their very first movie, Cannibal the Musical. Okay. When I for those that don't know, I'm a film school dropout as well. So when I was in film school, one of the great motivators for actually taking film school was watching all these like stupid ass indie movies. And one of my favorites was Cannibal the Musical. And it's so goofy and campy. And Trey Parker and Matt Stone, they both knew exactly how stupid they were being, and they had a lot of fun. You could just tell, like even in Team America, like that they know they're being absolutely stupid, but they're having a fun time.
Right.
And that makes the movie funner to watch. It's a different sort of self-awareness that, like, compared to like when you watch like a Marvel movie and they make a quip and they almost like want to wink at the camera. That's a different kind of self-aware. That's one is far less funny than the other kind of self-awareness, right? Yeah. Those movies were peak like early 2000s
brain rot.
Yeah.
My favorite of that era movie is actually Hot Tub Time Machine. Have you ever seen that movie?
I actually haven't seen that one, but I know what movie you're talking about, but I haven't seen the whole thing.
It's actually a really funny, good movie. It's actually like hilarious. Like I really enjoy it. I mean, and then you had the 2010 kind of peak movies with like the Vegas one, what was that? The Hangover. That was funny. I mean, it had its moments. It's really crazy how like the pre-woke era movies were a lot raunchier and like
I think the last great comedy, and I might have my timeline mixed up, I would say it was either Tropic Thunder or Step Brothers was the last great comedy film. Since then, I think Tropic Thunder was more recent. Since then,
there's nothing.
Comedy's dead. You cannot do comedy. Like I joked earlier about, like, you know, casual racism is funny every once in a while or whatever I said. It's true. Like you can't do comedy without being edgy like that. Like it's not like Reddit edgy, but like as a Canadian, and if someone's making fun of Canadians in a movie, am I going to get all freaking mad? No, I'm probably going to laugh at it. You know, it releases that sort of, like, you know, we can all laugh at ourselves sort of thing. I don't know. It's good to do.
Right. Well, it's actually interesting because the last comedy I saw, like, in theaters that I thought was funny was actually Bridesmaids. And I thought Bridesmaids was pretty funny. I don't know if you've seen that one.
I saw Bridesmaids in theater, but I actually I wasn't hugely fond of that one. But the story behind that one, for me seeing in theater, probably taints my experience of it, because, like, a bunch of my girlfriends wanted to go see it and I didn't really want to. I wanted to see something else. I don't remember what that something else was. So I was kind of peeved that they were all making me go see Bridesmaids, and I had to, and he was my boyfriend at the time. He's now my husband. He worked nights, like overnights at Walmart way back then. So I drug his ass with me to the fucking movie theater. Everybody says, we're going to go watch Bridesmaids. And he's just like, like, I just want to be dead. So he slept through the entire thing. Poor guy.
It had its moments. I mean, it was like, was it Kristen Wiig or whatever? She's actually one of the funnier, like, female comedians. Yeah. But yeah, it wasn't like peak. It was kind of like the end of, like, that whole Saturday Night Live kind of crowd.
That was before I had kids. That was like, what, 2009 or something? When the hell did Bridesmaids come out?
No, a little bit later, because I remember seeing it with my wife, so it had to be after 2010.
Oh, it was 2011.
Yeah, it was right because I first met my wife.
Why the hell was I able to see it in theater? Because I would have had a very small baby. Probably one of the rare cases. That's probably another reason why it pissed me off, because it was like the only time that the grandparents actually were watching my kid. And then I had to go see Bridesmaids instead of whatever other movie I wanted to see.
Yeah, I mean,
that's probably what it was. That's probably exactly what it was. I was freaking just like, are you kidding me right now? This is my only time to go see a movie.
For you guys that don't have kids, basically, like, you know, when you're getting ready to have your first kid, just go see as many movies in the theater as you can, because you're never going to the theater to see an adult movie ever again.
Because yeah, guess what? Nobody wants to have your baby in the theater. Don't be that person. Every time I see someone bring their baby to a movie theater, unless it's a child's movie, if it is an adult movie, and I have children, I am at the movies to get away from my children.
Right.
And then you bring your freaking kid? No. And like, I'm not one of these people. Yeah, I'm not one of these people who, like, you know, I really don't like it when people, like, scowl at my kids in the restaurant. Like, a restaurant, you should be able to bring your family with you. And my kids are pretty good. They generally don't make any noise or anything, but
it depends on what restaurant. It depends on what restaurant.
Yeah, I suppose you're right. But
okay.
So I'm not one of these people who, like, I don't scowl at kids in the restaurant, whatever. But like the movies, for me, that's like, movie theater etiquette. I will spurg if I go to a fucking movie theater and there are people ruining my time. That's just me.
No, it's because, you know what? They become so expensive now.
And, oh gosh,
you know, and it's like
stupid. Like, even on
people
cheap
go,
night.
oh, well, why don't you get a babysitter? Why don't you get a babysitter and go on a date? Well, listen, okay. If I do get a babysitter, which is expensive, and you know, babysitters are scary and a pain in the butt, and do I trust this person? Do I not trust them or whatever? You know, and then my daughter flips out or whatever. You know, now she's older and like she's good now. But like, if I do get a babysitter to go on a date with my wife, I'm not going to go see a movie because I want to talk to my wife. You know what I mean? Like, I want to do something that's more like interactive, like, you know, dinner or something like that. Going, like, having that free time from your kid and sitting in quiet watching something is not, it doesn't work real well. So like the last adult, actually the last adult movie I saw in the movie theater was Nosferatu, the recent one.
Yeah.
And I went, I went with work friends, and my wife didn't go, so it was just me by myself basically. But before that, the last adult movie my wife and I saw in a movie theater was Blade Runner. That's how long ago it's been, right? Blade
2049, I assume.
fucking 2049. Yeah, not 1983 because I would have been I would have been the kid brought into the movie theater.
Well, sometimes what theaters are doing now, because movies,
A lot of revival stuff, yeah.
A lot of revival stuff, yeah. Because like actual current year movies just aren't making any money at all, so they'll be like, hey, we're gonna play Jaws for no reason at all, and that will make money.
Yeah, I don't even know what it's playing. Actually, that new Dracula that's gonna be released in the US in a few months looks pretty cool. I haven't admitted. Have you seen that Dracula a love story or something like that?
I've heard of it. I haven't looked too much into it. I've been wanting to see the freaking the Del Toro's Frankenstein, but it's not playing in my theater. It's only playing in one freaking theater in this entire province. Do you want to know how big Ontario is?
Yeah,
I'm not even on the Manitoba border. I am 9 hours away from Winnipeg. It is a 16-hour drive to get from where I live to Toronto, to the one fucking movie theater that's playing the thing. And it's streaming on Netflix. Fuck Netflix. I don't want to watch it on Netflix. I want to watch it in the theater. Anyway, that's another rant for another day.
So I used to be okay. So obviously I got spoiled. I got spoiled growing up with two things, right? Mm-hmm. Movie theaters, like movies and concerts, right? Because when you grow up in Los Angeles, it's guaranteed that every band that's on tour is going to come to either Los Angeles, and oftentimes, if you really wanted to see it, like if you really like the band, a big band would play a show in Los Angeles on one night. Then the next night they'll be in Orange County. And then the third night they would be like in San Diego. So you could honestly like see like your favorite band like 3 nights in a row, like just driving like 40 minutes south, Yeah. So I was kind of spoiled of that. Even like this, like because of the amount of like small clubs and like venues and stuff in like Southern California, we would get even the small bands and like the obscure goth stuff and the metal stuff. We get all that stuff, right? We're always going to get good shows. And then also because Los Angeles is the home of movies, or used to be, we tend to have tons of theaters, and a lot of revival theaters, a lot of like, so we'd be able to see like if a movie was released anywhere, like limited release, it was going to be shown in Los Angeles, right? So like
that's the same with Toronto. Like Toronto has all those theaters and everything too, right? I'm in the middle of bumfuck nowhere, but I'm going to correct my statement. It wasn't playing in my theater, but I guess due to popular demand, it is now playing in my theater, which I am very happy about. My mood is lifted now. I've been wanting to watch this one. Apparently it's really good. I have seen quite a few reviews saying that this is like Del Toro's like magnum opus, like it's that good. So I don't know if that's just being it. I don't know if that's just it being overhyped or whatever. I guess I have to go watch and find out, because I was overhyped for Nosferatu. We've had this discussion about that movie already. Actually, you know what movie I watched and I did enjoy was Sinners. I thought that was that good?
That's the vampire. That's the black vampire movie thing.
Yeah. I mean, it had a lot of flaws, but it also took a lot of risks, which I really respect. So was it the greatest movie freaking ever made? No, but it was worth seeing in theater. Like I think, in my opinion, they went in some different directions that I haven't seen too often in a vampire flick. I thought they took a lot of risks, and so like power to them. And it was, as far as I know, it was an original script. So I thought I liked it.
Okay, so Guillermo del Toro did Pan's Labyrinth, which is a movie that I like, even though it's the plot of it is retarded, like boomer kind of, And
because it's set during the Spanish Civil War, right?
Yeah, and it's wrong, the bad guys are the good guys and vice versa. It's like communist propaganda. But I mean, the movie's good. It's got a cool, like, it's got cool visuals and that kind of stuff, You're just rooting for the bad guys the whole time if you're me. You're like, fucking kill those fucking stupid communists, right? But I mean, he's a good movie. I've actually haven't heard of Frankenstein, so now I'm going to go look into it. Right? It's cool now that my daughter's older. I can actually start taking her to like more adult
I don't.
movies.
Our
I'm probably not going to take her to this one.
says it is 14A.
Oh, so
but
she can go to that.
In Canada, we tend to like if it's 14A in Canada, it might be rated R in the States. We're a little bit more loosey goosey with our rating system up here.
I feel like rated R movies now are a lot less rated R-ish than like what movies were like when we were growing up. Like I look at like movies that are like rated R today, I'm like, that's not really that rated R. Like there's not
we were able to go see freaking Terminator 2 in theaters. That was rated R.
Right.
How old was I when that came out?
Right.
Freaking like
we were like 6 or 7 or something. Yeah. Because it was like early 90s. I mean, yeah. I didn't feel like Terminator 2 should have been rated R. I don't.
Well, standards change all the time, and what happens too is that they'll go back and they'll retroactively change ratings for movies from before the ratings met current standards. So you'll have movies from 40 freaking years ago that get a worse rating now because of the smoking in it. Right. It'll get a harsher rating now because of that. And that's but at the time, who gave a shit if someone was smoking on camera, right?
Right. Because I watched Terminator 2 with my daughter, and I was like, why is this movie rated R? It's like a buddy dad movie, basically, And what I'm trying to think of what's like the violence is not really that violent. Like the Terminator doesn't really kill anybody, like the good guy Terminator, Arnold, the T180 or whatever. And I mean, you have like some scary like killing scenes where like the T1000 does the the spike through the milk carton, killing the stepmom, but it's not really like there's no like sexual content. There's no like rape or anything like that. There's nothing like that in there. It's I guess the bad words, like they say shit about the bad words are probably what makes the movie rated R. There's like some smoking, like I think Sarah Connor smokes or something like that. But it just doesn't, like Terminator 1, I would give that a rated R rating because it has Terminator that sex scene in it.
Yeah.
Well, there's that scene where Sarah Connor gets smoked along with everybody in the playground.
Yeah. So. There's that scene where John Connor is conceived, and that's like a 10-minute scene, and you're like, oh, that'd be awkward to watch with my daughter. Like, Total Recall is one where I'm all like, okay, they're in a brothel.
I haven't watched Total Recall with my kids yet. My oldest is definitely old enough to watch it now. 15, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I watched it the first time when I was freaking. It was the TV edit, though. To be fair, but I was like 6 or something.
I watched a full like unedited version like 100 times when I was like in elementary school. Because like my parents did not understand the idea of ratings or it's a sci-fi movie. It's like robots and shit and aliens.
Well, we've watched. Like you were saying before, like if I'm gonna watch a movie with my kids that's a little bit, got adult stuff in it, be it like lots of swears or something, like I'll sit down before we watch it. I'm like, okay, this movie has this, that in it. If you want me to skip past it, whatever. And then if they want to talk about it, we can talk about it. So like with my oldest, so your daughter has like dance and stuff, like different lessons and things. So sometimes one kid's out of the house and the other one's here. And so then I'll pick the movies based on which child is here or both of them or whatever. So there was one day where my youngest was out at one of his lessons and my oldest was here and I'm like, hey, do you want to watch a movie? I feel like watching Goodfellas. And he's like, okay. Like he's excited to watch like a grown-up movie. I'm like, now there is a lot of swearing in this movie. But you've heard your mom say all these words. So like, because like, I used to, when they were really little, I used to watch my mouth around them. But I was raised by wolves. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I freaking curse like a sailor, right? So that's
why we have you on.
The weird thing about swearing is that Americans take it way more seriously than Canadians do. Like, and talking with people online who are from like the UK, like Scotland, Ireland, Australia, and we've talked about this. Like, it is a weirdly American phenomenon to be really weird about cursing. Like, Americans just really don't like cuss words. I don't know if that's also like this weird chick tract kind of Protestant mentality thing. I don't know, but it's definitely
like a weird Protestant thing.
Yeah. If I am ever tone policed, like for example on like Substack notes or something, and somebody's like, well, this would have made a much better impact if you hadn't used the F word. Oh, fuck off. Like, like, tell me how to speak. And it's always some old boomer American every time. So that's just an observation. But yeah, so I'll sit down with my kid like, okay, this is a gangster film. There's going to be a lot of swearing, a lot of violence, but it's a really good movie. I feel like watching it. Your brother's not here. You want to watch it with me. You know, stuff like that. And there was one time, there's a lot of people that are going to be judging me for this one. My youngest is really, really into like cowboy movies. And a lot of the best cowboy movies, like for example, like the Dollars trilogy.
All right.
We've watched those like a million times. So I'm like racking my brain for like a cowboy movie, whatever. We've watched actually one of my kids' favorite movies is Inglourious Bastards. We have watched Inglourious Bastards with the kids several times. They love that movie. So I'm like, okay, you know what? You know what's a cowboy movie and directed by the same guy who did so I was watching Hateful Eight with my kid, and then I was like 10 minutes in the movie, and I'm remembering, I don't know if you guys have seen Hateful Eight, but there is like a half-hour chunk of that movie I had to skip. I realized my mistake once I remembered it. I'm like, oh my gosh, like it's one thing to have constant swearing and like the N-word and like all this like Tarantino stuff, right? The gory violence, whatever. But like that one chunk of the movie where Samuel L. Jackson is talking about what he did to that, I think it was like a Confederate soldier or something, to get at that like old dude.
Yeah.
You guys have you seen the movie?
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
All right. And so we got to that scene, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna skip ahead. I think it's like a half hour of this movie. And so my kid's like, well, why do we have to skip it? And I'm like, because it is way too adult for you, my boy. But there's so much gore and violence and swearing. Like he's trying to like reason out why we had to skip. I'm like, no, when you're 18. Okay, yeah. This is rated R for a reason, buddy.
Well, you know, it's interesting because like one of the movies I was like thinking, I'm like, you know, I could probably watch Kill Bill with my daughter, right? And it's like, yes, I actually could, right? Because
the other day I watched Reservoir Dogs with my oldest.
Reservoir Dogs is easily like acceptable for kids. I think there's not like anything crazy, and it's just a crime movie. You know, there's no the problem with Kill Bill is the beginning. The beginning is the whole creepy I'm Buck and I'm here to fuck thing, you know, and you're like, fuck, I don't want to explain that to my daughter. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like that's the hard part. Like if she watched like the whole crazy 88, like, you know, sword violence scene at the end, you know, with the whole battle with Oren Ishii and, you know, the Lucid Liu character and all that stuff, right? Like that should be like, that's a cartoon. Okay. There's just, it's like she knows that's like cartoon violence, you know, it's not like, you know, people say, oh, you know, it's interesting that like you like, you're afraid of like, you're okay with showing extreme violence, but not like sexuality or whatever, right? Well, it's different, right? Yeah. Like rape and stuff like that is a real thing that happens to people. And you know, it's like scary, and you have to explain like a lot of there's tons of like side consequences that need to be discussed, you know, like world like issues, right? Cartoon, like my daughter is probably not going to end up in a izakaya fighting off a gang of Japanese yakuza, you know, with a katana that was forged in Okinawa. All right, maybe I don't know if I wouldn't be surprised if my daughter does end up doing that if you ever meet her, but you see what I mean? No, right? Like, you know, you can say like, yeah, okay, that's not going to happen. But the whole like nurse taking advantage of a patient in a coma, that's a little bit more realistic, you know, in a way, even though it's played in, you know, like, yeah, you could probably show, she could probably watch like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, for example, but she'd find it kind of boring, right? I actually watched Tombstone with my daughter the other day, and she didn't.
Oh,
like
we watched Tombstone so many times. Oh my gosh, that's another favorite in this house. Is Tombstone. We watch it all the time.
I think it's a little bit too slow for her. I think she'd like it. We watched it like one day on when she got back from school, and she was like, me and my wife wanted to watch it, and she was watching it, but I think she was already like amped up and like not in the mood for it, you know, so she didn't feel like watching it. I think in a few years she's gonna absolutely like it. And we've got Neil joining us in the chat. Neil from Pile Press. Welcome. Hi, Neil. I just saw you, man. But yeah, like, you know, like that is a tough one, right? Like, how do you decide what's appropriate? You know, like, you know, one movie that always sticks in my mind as being like RoboCop. Okay, RoboCop. Yeah. Have you guys seen RoboCop, Fisto?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah. RoboCop is a movie I watched as a little kid. All right, I loved RoboCop as like, dude, I was probably the same age or maybe a year older than my daughter is right now. Right.
Yep.
I love that movie. There was just something freaking awesome about a robot cop just shooting people and, you know, all that stuff. Right. And I remember watching it maybe like 10, 15 years ago. And I was thinking about that because I was actually talking to my priest at church about Paul Verhoeven movies, right?
Yeah.
Why our priest is the coolest priest ever.
Yeah.
We were talking about like Paul Verhoeven movies, right? And RoboCop is a Paul Verhoeven movie. But we watched, I remember watching RoboCop as an adult. And this is the first time after I had RoboCop action figures and shit, right? And I watched that movie and I was like, God damn, that's like a freaking like hard R movie, right?
Yeah.
Like it is like a brutal movie. Like the violence is so extreme and like dark and realistic in that movie that like I remember like as an adult going, oh, that's a little bit too much, you know? Like I just like it made me cringe in a way, you know? And that death of the guy from the 70s show, you know, he's the bad guy, right?
Yeah.
And he
I don't remember his name.
Hit by the acid stuff and like gets all like just grotesque, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like exceptionally sexual and stuff. And it's just like I used to be really afraid of the Ed 209 or whatever, like robot. That used to terrify me when I was a little kid, man.
I've always thought that sort of thing was funny. Like I was one of those like weird kids. That was one of the reasons why I loved horror when I was a kid, was because like anything that would scare my peers would make me laugh. Like I've always been a goofy goober, I guess. I don't know. But like, yeah, I don't know.
I was afraid of normal things when I was like, you know, absolutely normal things. Like I was afraid of things that kids are usually scared of, like fires burning down my house and me being homeless, economic downturns, my parents getting laid off, you know, that all the scary things and you know, oh yes, Neil got in the chat. Kurtwood Smith, dad from the '70s show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was that guy. Like that guy's a great villain, man. He was a great villain in like those '80s movies. He was in a few '80s movies.
Some actors are just really good at villains. Like I was just thinking about the other day. I was thinking about speaking of Reservoir Dogs, Tim Roth plays a really good villain. Like if you've ever seen Rob Roy. Oh yeah, he's great. Gosh, he does such a good villain in that movie. Like, oh, it's like the reason to watch that movie is his just being an absolute piece of shit. Oh,
right. I mean, if we're talking about Quentin Tarantino movies, I'm a fan of and I'm not a fan of, if that makes sense, right? A friend of mine, one of the Parliament crew, said it best one time in a chat a long time ago, and it's stuck in my mind. Quentin Tarantino does movie violence, and it's like a guy who's never been punched, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of like his vibes.
That's pretty accurate. But it's still fun.
It's still fun, right? Reservoir Dogs is peak. I think my favorite Quentin Tarantino movie is actually Jackie Brown. I don't know if that's, well, no, that's not appropriate for your kid because there's that 30-second sex scene, which is one of the best sex scenes in any movie between what's his name and what's his name, Bridger Fonda or whatever. But I mean, it's a wonderful movie. It's like a great like Los Angeles noir. It's based on a novel, but the novel's set actually in Florida. I think it's a Florida novel, but he transposed it to Los Angeles. I really liked Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and I'm slightly interested in his upcoming movie that he's working on, supposedly about a critic. It's gonna be like his last movie or something like that.
Yeah, I think he's only doing one more. Allegedly, he's doing one more and then he's quitting.
He's got some retarded like take on movies, but like he liked the last Joker movie, and I'm like, but I didn't like the first Joker movie. I'm like I'm in the rare crowd where I was like, that's all right.
I don't know. I had already seen Taxi Driver, so watching the Joker movie was just like, I think I'd rather just watch Taxi Driver. Like,
right. It felt like a rehash of Taxi Driver with like Batman like superimposed on it. Yeah. I mean, okay, what's his name is a great actor, and sure. And he does a great job of it, and it's great. It's just kind of like grimy. The whole movie's kind of grimy, and I don't like that way it made me feel in a way. But I think it was like that. This fucking masterpiece that's never gonna, it's gonna be like remembered forever. I was like, okay,
well, here's that. I was talking about this before. We're just so starved for cinema that we're,
right.
Like movies that wouldn't have got praise 15 years ago get massive praise now.
Like right now, that movie that everybody's talking about, the one with fucking what's his name? It's the one about like the terrorist group or something like that. And
oh yeah, I haven't seen that one. That it's based off of a Pynchon novel. What the hell is it called? One Battle After Another.
Yeah, it's based off of a Pynchon. One Battle After Another. It's loosely based on Against the Day by Pynchon. Yeah. Which is funny you mentioned Pynchon. I almost bought his latest novel.
I have it. I've started it.
Is it any good?
Cool I am. I mean, I'm not very far into it. I'm only about like 20 something pages in, but yeah, it's if you like Pynchon, you will enjoy it.
See, I've read. I like what people consider like the worst Pynchon, which is I like Inherent Vice, which is like the most Pynchon novel. And
well, those same freaking dorks are the ones that say that No Country for Old Men is just Cormac McCarthy light. So if you like that book, then I guess you're freaking stupid or whatever. Ignore those guys. They're morons.
Yeah. I love No Country for Old Men, but I think Suttree is his best novel.
I haven't read Suttree yet.
Suttree is his best novel.
Yeah. I think that's going to be my next Cormac novel that I read is Suttree. My last one I read was Child of God, and a lot of people shit on that one too. But
that one is actually the first Pynchon novel. I'm not Pynchon, Cormac McCarthy novel I read.
Yeah.
No, I take it back. No Country for Old Men was, but the first not No Country for Old Men was with Child of God. My wife loves that novel. It's like one of her favorite books, and that one's dark.
Right? It is, yeah. That one's pretty gross.
Child of God is gross. It's pretty gross. The necrophilia and all that stuff he brings. If you guys aren't familiar with Suttree, there's a scene where the dude like comes across these like two dead people in this car, and I think they died of like carbon monoxide poisoning or something like that. But they're obviously like in the process of having sex in this car, and he like takes the girl and he like takes her body back to
Child of God, not Suttree.
Yeah, Child of God. Yeah. Takes her body back to like his little house, and like he like makes her his girlfriend, and he starts like shopping for her and like buying her underwear and stuff. And he keeps her in like the rafters.
See, I wind up laughing about this shit because it's just it's actually funny.
Yeah, but then he burns
I think Cormac here is showing his sense of humor. Because it's just
it's funny, you're like, what the fuck, and he like lives in a cave, and it's just really fucking weird. Suttree's really funny too. I mean, it's dark and it's funny, but it's Suttree is a much more it's very much, it has a lot, it's more Child of God vibes than let's say like Blood Meridian or No Country for Old Men, or his later work. It fits into that like weird, like it's very much inspired by what's his name, I'm tired, the Southern writer who wrote Absalom. Faulkner, right? It's a very Faulkner-esque, it's him in his Faulkner-esque kind of era, and I really enjoyed it. I enjoy Suttree a lot because I think when people talk about Cormac McCarthy, the two big novels that are like, the two ones are obviously Blood Meridian and Suttree. They're the two like McCarthy masterpieces. I like both. Now with Pinchon, if you guys are, Pinchon is a Pinchon, whatever his name is.
I don't know.
Yeah, Harrogate. In Suttree, there's this great scene about this like retarded hillbilly dude named Harrogate, and he's a kind of a reoccurring character that's just a straight up fucking like inbred retard. And there's like this huge like scene of he decides to like fuck watermelons. So he goes around like the watermelon patch and he's like busting holes in them and he's busting nuts inside all these watermelons.
Oh my goodness.
That's what he keeps on getting arrested. He keeps on getting arrested for like humping watermelons. The farmers keep on finding like their like, oh gee golly, somebody violated my watermelons. It's like it's pretty good, Yeah, he fucks all the watermelons and he just goes through the patches, and so it got like scenes like that, like weird, like drinking scenes, and like he like roams around getting drunk. It all takes place in Knoxville, Tennessee. So it's in Cormac's Knoxville era, and later on, before he goes and becomes like a wild westerner, where he goes out west and settles in New Mexico and Santa Fe, and that's where I believe he died in Santa Fe. He switched to that kind of like Mexico, Midwest, like Southwest kind of vibe in his writing. Now, Pinchon is interesting because he's another like typical American writer, like probably like the last living one that's considered like the great American writer from that era. And you've got Gravity's Rainbow.
Is Don DeLillo still alive?
Don DeLillo still alive, I think, too. So I think Pinchon and Don DeLillo are like the last two. There's probably like one or two, but out of the ones that everybody knows to a certain degree. Yes, Neil, Lisa said it. Neil's like DeLillo. You know what? Me and Neil we've had this discussion. I don't love Don DeLillo. But I think I need to read like Underworld, and I need to read Libra. I didn't read.
You need to read Libra. I haven't read Underworld. Libra is a freaking phenomenal book. I did not really care much for White Noise.
That's the one I read, and it just bounced off me. I don't know what it is. I read the whole thing. I
understand why it was popular, or why it is.
I do too.
Popular. Yeah. I get it, but like, it was okay.
Writing wise, I think he's great. I just don't. I don't love White Noise. I don't know what it was about it. It kind of like it irritated me. I guess like I maybe have to be of an older generation to enjoy it. I might reread it and see if I like it again.
I think it's because we've been so we've heard the whole like consumerism thing. Like we've been so inundated with it. I'm sure when the book came out, fewer people were talking about 80s capitalism and shit like that. But we're kind of, I think now it's almost cute. For us looking back now, from when White Noise was written to now, it's almost like quaint.
Right. No, I think you actually nailed it. I think you actually nailed why it bounced off me, because that message of anti-consumerism, like the kind of like the stasis and the stagnation of the middle class, like intellectual class in America, was very pertinent when it came out. But to us growing up in, the post millennium, post 9/11 kind of collapse of like, our economy, you look at these characters that are bitching about basically having unfulfilled lives in the suburbs, and you go, fuck, dude, I would rather be you than me any day. You know what I mean?
It's like those memes. It's like those memes that shit on Office Space and oh my god, what's the other one? Fight Club. Right. Office Space and Fight Club. They're always like memed as being like, oh no, you have a job,
right.
Oh, that's terrible,
Right, exactly, Tiss. Yeah. It's like how we, I feel like a few episodes we were talking about like, why did all those 80s movies shit on like the suburbs? Like I would love to live in like, the Tim Burton suburbs. It's like that Tim Burton suburb in Edward Scissorhands. That is a prime demographic suburb. Cute girls walking around. Everybody's got a job. It's like, yeah, right.
Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I might have to disagree with you there, because then you're going to end up in the suburb that was Arcadia in X-Files, and then you'll have the fucking demon from South America eat you. So
right, that's true.
It's all fun and games until the despair eats you.
Listen, I live in the murder capital of Canada. Okay, I already there is definitely a curse upon this land that I live in, and I'm not even in suburbia. So, frick.
Yeah. I suppose it's all relative.
Relative. I'll take the Buffy Hellmouth or whatever.
I mean, come on, we all want to live in Twin Peaks, okay? We all want to live in Twin Peaks,
yeah,
right? Like that's where I want to live. I want to live in Twin Peaks, man. A little mountain town in like Washington or wherever, and I'd hang out with like freaking Laura Palmer and do coke with her and all kinds of stuff. That's you know, just go to the One-Eyed Jacks, you know, on a Friday night, right? And then
I was gonna say, doesn't that end very poorly for like everybody? I don't know. I think this is again maybe
I don't know.
Apart slightly.
I will just carry a light with me at all times.
Oh, there you go. Perfect.
But yeah, I mean, Pynchon, you know, his main book, right, is Gravity's Rainbow, and that's like that's a challenge. It's a read, all right.
That was my
enjoyable
first
read,
and I loved it. Like it was my first time reading Pynchon. And so I just had, you can laugh. It's fine. So, and I just
Brian cracked me up in a chat. I have to interrupt because he said I lived in the Twin Peaks equivalent. The real Laura Palmers are fatter, and that's probably true.
Yeah. Oh no.
Yeah. But
ahead,
as far as reading Gravity's Rainbow, like I just kind of accepted that I was in for a ride, and like I didn't really try to like really comprehend what I was reading it. But I really enjoyed it. Like it was one of those books where it's like, wow, I can do this in a novel, and it just kind of like woke up so much, like got the juices turning in my brain. You know what I mean?
Right. It's the only way you can write a novel now, in my opinion. Like if you're going to write a novel, it has to be a maximalist novel like that. That's big. That's all, you know, that cannot be filmed. You know, you can't have a Gravity's Rainbow movie. You can't have a V movie, you know, like, that's what I think. V is really good too. If you ever read V.
Well, even like, I think I brought this up on the very first time I was on the show when we were talking about Palace. I was unsatisfied with my prose in it. I remember, and then I was getting feedback from beta readers, and I the whole beta reader thing is something that we can talk about another time. But like at that time I was doing that stuff, and I kept getting feedback that was talking about like my syntax is weird. And then I would think like, but no, I constructed that sentence intentionally. Like that is how I wanted the sentence to be. And so I kept getting this feedback. And then I decided to just be like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to be weird. And then I read Gravity's Rainbow. And so I'm like, you know what? I really can be weird. So there's been a few people who have read Palace, and they're actually like surprised at the experimental prose in it. And it's like, yeah, I had fun with it. Like it switches from first person to third, or the other way around, third person to first, back and forth, whatever. And the way that I chose to lean into how I was initially constructing my sentences to like be more my voice. And I was so much happier with it after it was done. So thanks, Pynchon, Pinecone, whatever your fucking name is.
Yeah.
So it was one of those influential reads.
It is. Sure. It's definitely, and like I think that like you know, for that alone, is he's worth reading. He's worth reading. I mean, because he's all about style, and he has style. And I mean, I really like Inherent Vice. Like I said, it's like a short book, and it's like his most accessible book. But I like it because I like Los Angeles. You know, that's really what I like. I like the Los Angeles vibe of it. I mean, Inherent Vice is Pynchon watching The Big Lebowski and saying, "I'm going to write a Big Lebowski in novel form in the '90s." Yeah. And that's what he did with Inherent Vice. Let's be honest.
I didn't like Lot 49 I didn't really care for that one. I think
I didn't like it
gained
either.
it.
I think I read that in high school, and
Yeah.
I didn't particularly love Mason Dixon, and I mean it was good, but it was just meh.
I like Mason and Dixon. I thought that was fun.
Yeah,
But I think my
Against
number
the
one is
Day.
still Gravity's Rainbow. I haven't read. Yeah, there's lots of his that I haven't read. I haven't read Against the Day. I haven't read. What's the one that came out? Bleeding Edge. I haven't read that
Bleeding
one.
Edge, yeah, that's like they're all kind of like that Against
Yeah.
the Day kind of universe kind of world.
Yeah, I haven't read V either.
I like V. V was the first one. V's actually a book that back in the day, back in my early 20s, probably like teens, right when I turned 20, I used to have this friend that was a pretentious, like artistic, literary guy. He used to have like long hair. He was Filipino, and he had long fucking like black hair, right? And when he drank, because he was Asian, he turned beet red. Like like a lot of Asians are allergic to alcohol, so they turn red when they drink alcohol. And he looked like a Native American, right? And he would play that shit up. He would tell people, "Oh, I'm a Pima," And he played it up to such a degree that like people would give him like as an in joke, he'd carry like a tomahawk in the back of his Honda Civic and shit, and like all these stupid things, right? And he had a fucking copy of V that he carried everywhere with him, and I borrowed it and I kept it for like 5 fucking years, right? I never read it. Like I started reading it, never read it, and many years later, I was like, "Hey man, I still have a copy of V somewhere. I haven't got a chance to read it." And he's like, "Oh, that's cool, man. I never read it either. I just carried it around because it looked cool." But I actually fucking went around and finally read it, and it was actually it's a pretty good book. There's a great weird part that I like about V reincarnated or a version of V, like as a sewer rat in New York City, like V the rat girl. It's just really fucking weird. Like all Pynchon books, it's just weird,
Yeah.
But hey guys, we are approaching our end time, so I think we're going to say goodbye right now. I hope you enjoyed our Halloween conversation, which didn't really have that much Halloween in it. I'm sorry we didn't talk about horror or anything. Like usual, we are derailed by whatever.
Probably me. It's probably my fault. You can blame me if you want.
No, it's just how it is.
Derailed.
It's just how it is.
Totally derailed.
Yeah, but we really did. The key takeaway is the Stitch slutty Stitch Halloween costume, right? And
I mean that was max horror right off the bat.
Yeah. And don't be
there was so much more too, but that's the one that really stuck out to me, is just being like, what the hell am I looking at? Oh my gosh.
So we're gonna call it. We're gonna for you guys that just joined late and want to listen to the whole episode, we did talk about approaching Halloween from like a kind of a Christian perspective. So we were a little bit serious earlier on. A big key takeaway is that Halloween is not a pagan holiday, and it did not start off as a pagan holiday, and as complete and total 19th century like anti-Catholic propaganda, and it's been co-opted by the whole like neo-pagan movement, because every holiday is a pagan holiday, which to a certain degree they are somewhat correct, because there's tons of pagans, like stuff that you could maybe trace back to some kind of pagan idea. Why? Because that's how culture develops, and that's how small traditions are adopted, but a lot of the stuff is like there's this like level of human ritualistic like behavior that is innate, I believe, in humans, like liking candles, for example, right? And fire, right? That's a universal idea. So almost every spiritual religion or is gonna burn things, right? It's something that all like I can't think of any religion that's been on this planet for any time that has not had burning of things, whether it's incense or a lot of Chinese like religion, they do firecrackers and they burn like lottery tickets and they burn money to send to the afterlife. So that kind of stuff is like, yeah, duh, of course everybody has that, because that's a universal human trait, right? That fire is transformative, that fire, and smoke and smells and that type of thing, right? So there's all that kind of stuff. But we talked about that for a bit. We talked about slutty Stitch costumes. We talked about letting your kids trick or treat and enjoying Halloween. For you guys, I hope you have a wonderful Halloween. I'm gonna, be on. I haven't been posting as much on Substack, if you guys noticed, and I know Fisto's been kind of slacking on his Substack posting. I think Lisa, you've been posting more than both of us combined. I've just been real
Probably.
busy, and I
I have
try
no
to,
life.
yeah, I try to prep the show. I've also been playing a lot of video games and writing. So I've been doing a lot of writing, all right, because I'm trying to finish this freaking novel I'm working on. It's just I
Good.
keep on rewriting to retardation, but I'm also playing a lot of video games because tomorrow morning at 05:30, Arc Raiders comes out on all platforms, and I'm going to be playing a lot of Arc Raiders. Okay, it is the number one video game I've ever played, probably, and it's it might be better than Cyberpunk 2077. Fisto, I don't
Really?
know. It's a tough one. Well, it's a multiplayer game, so it's not in the same category, but the vibes in the world and the way it feels, it's up there. But yeah, like ultimately, like we'll be back next Wednesday at 5 o'clock. We'll have a bunch of cool new topics to talk about. I am going to pick up that pension novel and I'm going to read it. I want to talk about that. I'm probably going to do some video game reviews because I've been in the mood to talk about video games. I know Alexander Helene loves to talk about video games, so I'm going to do something for him because we're going to go through a retrospective of Alex's video game life. My first video game I ever played on any like home system was actually Revenge of the Shinobi on Sega Genesis. That was my first video game. All right.
I had a Sega Master System.
Yeah, I was born in the third world,
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I forgot.
World. We didn't have that, so it wasn't until 1991 that I got a system, but it was Genesis.
Yeah.
But yeah, and just let your kids trick or treat, let your kids play Dungeons and Dragons, but not current Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. It's pretty homo, to be honest. I'm sorry to say that, right? Like there's like I saw a drawing, like an art from one of their supplements. It had some like beholder
the
rapist
beholder was all
thing.
pink. Yeah,
it was like some kind of beholder rapist thing going on. And I'm just like, nope, I'm gonna veto that. That is more horror than any Halloween horror ever. Whatever that picture was.
The fun thing about D&D is that you can play it and completely disregard all of that stuff. So like I haven't played D&D in a while, but like the groups that I play with, like we don't pay attention to any of that shit.
Right. No, you got to ignore it. You get, 5th edition. Man, we can do an episode on D&D, man. We can talk about D&D forever, right? 5th edition is pretty homo. The system itself is actually, I think, is pretty good, right? Like, I'll be honest, guys, man. I'm kind of a theater kid, and I liked D&D, but I really liked playing the White Wolf games growing up. All right, I was kind of a big fan of Vampire the Masquerade. There's a new Vampire the Masquerade video game out on Xbox. I saw that and like on Steam and stuff. It's Bloodlines 2. Bloodlines 1 was pretty good, but I don't have time for that. I don't have time for like a single player game. But yeah, like, that's more like that beholder picture, man. If you guys seen that, hey, Brian, leave White Wolf alone. White Wolf
It was awesome. I think it was even shared by like the official, I don't have a Twitter, so I can't confirm this, but I think it was shared by like the official Wizard of the Coast account or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Wizard of the Coast is just freaking just AIDS. It's just horrible. I don't know what the hell is going on. It's over there in Seattle or whatever. It's horrible. But I mean, yeah, there's some great stuff, and I've been following a lot of like gaming stuff, right? Like a lot of friends are, they're doing like a lot of like little indie games and stuff, putting together all kinds of like miniature games and shit. And like there's the cool kind of like resurgence of it. I see that in some of my younger friends. They're like all like, talking about that stuff that I was like, oh, that stuff was like when I was growing up, Yeah, White Wolf is positively hetero compared to current D&D, right? I like being a vampire and like LARPing is less gay than what D&D's become right now,
And that says something because vampires are pretty inherently gay.
Vampires are inherently gay. They're basically just AIDS markets, like vectors for disease. But yeah, so we got a lot of stuff to talk about. I've got like a pretty mellow week coming up. Like I'm gonna be, chilling. So I'm going to get a chance to do a lot of writing this weekend. And finally, like, things are starting to slow down. Thanksgiving is coming around. So I hope you guys all have wonderful plans for Thanksgiving. I love Thanksgiving. Okay. Thanksgiving is like my second favorite holiday. It's like, I don't know why, like maybe because I'm an immigrant. So I've like adopted Thanksgiving as my favorite American holiday. I love Thanksgiving, and of course Christmas is wonderful, and I love Christmas. So I'm pretty excited. I'm entering, like, it's actually getting cold and chilly here. I'm just like, yes, it's like it's time to really. I pulled out my peak coat and I have all my cool stuff, so I'm really enjoying it.
The end is approaching.
Yeah, the end. You know, the autumn of my life is drawing near.
The autumn of this podcast.
Yeah, the autumn of no, it's not. We are in the spring. Okay, it's like it hasn't even like the sun hasn't even come out yet. Okay, it hasn't even thawed yet. Okay, like that's where we're at. You're gonna hear from me for the next decade. You're gonna be so tired of listening to me. You're gonna be like, yo, I listened to Fisto and Alex and Lisa back in 2025, bro. You know, I'm just gonna be an old. Yeah, I'd be like an old crazy Alex Jones motherfucker sitting here like talking about like AI Jews or whatever the hell he's talking about. You know, I'm just gonna be
talking about when I went on that suicide run to destroy the data center and blow up the internet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
wait, what?
We're gonna be like living in Arc Raiders, fighting the machine from the inside, man. All right. All right, guys. So, hey, thanks for listening. Thanks for all the cool chat. I always love and enjoy it. Lisa, thank you so much for joining us. Like I said, you're always welcome to come on. All right.
No, thanks for having me.
My favorite people. We have great conversations. We're going to do more movie episodes soon. Okay. We got to do like another movie episode. We got to do your favorite movie though. You know, what is it? What's that? What's the Kubrick movie you like?
Who, me?
No, Lisa.
Me?
Yeah. Your Kubrick.
Oh,
movie.
I had recommended for the next movie to be it's not Kubrick. It's Night of the Hunter.
Night of the Hunter. But what's a Kubrick movie you're like super into? You're always posting about it. What is his name?
Oh, Barry Lyndon.
Barry Lyndon. Yeah, I have been wanting to watch Barry Lyndon forever, and I just
have you never watched it?
I've never seen it. No, I want to.
Oh yeah, gotta. Okay, well, it's I mean, if you've ever watched friggin' Solaris or Stalker or whatever, you've witnessed movies that are of a slower pace, so you know you'll be okay. Yeah. But it's not actually slow, but some people criticize it as being slow. It's not actually slow, but
the costumes in it look amazing. Like
it's one of the most gorgeous movies ever made. I could definitely rant for another 2.5 hours about it, but I think. All
right, so we'll do a Barry Lyndon and a Night of the Hunter episode because both Brian and Neil in the chat are talking up Night of the Hunter, and I've never seen either of those movies.
You got Night of the Hunter.
Yeah. I'm a complete Philistine at this point. Then that's how I feel, you know. And Barry Lyndon's like,
fix yourself.
And you know what? And then the other one we need to do, when I'm feeling maybe around Easter or, you know, Pasha, and we'll do Tarkovsky's big religious movie. We'll do what is it? Andrei Rublev.
Yeah.
To kind of keep with the theme, you know. But I want to see you know, Barry Lyndon. I want to watch Night of the Hunter. Have you seen that Russian movie, Russian Ark? It's not a movie I want to talk about.
I have.
Yeah, I love that movie too.
It's gorgeous. That's another.
There's not much to talk about it. Like that's one of the movies where you can't really talk about. You just have to watch it.
Yeah, you really have to watch it. It's not so much like there isn't so much of like a plot as like an experience. It's like an experiential movie. The one thing about it though, and like I remember renting it from Blockbuster. Holy shit. Anyway. My husband couldn't finish watching it because it gave him motion sickness because of the entire movie is one continuous shot on Steadicam. Right.
It's amazing,
and so it made him motion sick. Yeah, so he couldn't finish watching it, but it is gorgeous. It's so well done, and because it is one continuous shot, it's not like so 1917. You've seen that recent dish.
You're right.
It feels like one continuous shot, but it's not. You can see the editing tricks to make it look like one continuous. Russian Ark is actually one solid take the entire movie, and so they had only like a few hours to shoot it because it was filmed at the Hermitage. in St.
Yeah,
Petersburg.
in St. Petersburg, yeah.
And they had to get it all coordinated for one freaking just the production alone is worth watching the movie for. Just to be blown away.
Yeah, no, it's a beautiful movie.
Yeah.
It's one of the movies where you get yourself a bottle of wine and you sit down and
Yeah.
you just watch it with the volume and the dark room, good sound.
Especially if you are like, what's the word? Like a Russophile. Like if you're really into Russian culture and stuff. Yeah, it's really
and I'm very much into Russian culture.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that. I mean, there's a lot of great movies that I need to catch up on right now. Actually, I've been, it's hard because to watch a movie like that, I have to watch it after my daughter goes to sleep. And unfortunately, the older she gets, the later she goes to sleep.
Yeah.
So by the time she goes to sleep on the weekend, I'm like, well, shit, when am I going to watch a 3-hour movie like Andrei Rublev, like, ugh.
And now with both my kids in their teen years, I'm in bed before they are. Like,
right.
It's like, I'm old, I'm sleepy, I'm going to bed, guys, be quiet, I'm sleeping. Yeah.
And like all my friends are like, how come you never come play video games with me? Well, I do. It's just like after 11. Okay, guys. Yeah. Like that's the only time I get to play or do anything because I have a child and they go to bed later and later as they grow older. And by the time you have a full day of work and then you put your kid to bed finally around 10 o'clock on a weekday, and cool, now I got to watch a 4-hour movie like in black and white in Russian. It's kind of a rough one to do, So that's kind of what's keeping me from doing all this stuff. I mean, Fisto knows the struggle. He's actually asleep right now. Like it is past his bedtime, and it is 7:30 Eastern time here.
I'm definitely ready for a nap, man.
Yeah.
What's going on?
I'm about to go to bed. I should go and put my daughter to bed right now. I don't even know if they're home yet, though. I don't know if they got home yet.
Yeah, I actually have to be going soon.
Yeah, no, we're going to call it. All right, guys. So once again, thank you. If you enjoyed the podcast, like, share, and subscribe. Please go ahead and subscribe because we always do subscriptions. If you're awesome, you're going to go like our YouTube channel and share that because I also want that to get some traction. Right now, Substack is doing real well, but I feel like YouTube needs to catch up a bit. We'll have this episode edited and ready in full for you guys to listen to it tomorrow morning. For guys that came in late and all that stuff, please do give me your shekels. We need it, right? It's a poor economy. I have video game addictions. I have coffee addictions. I have, all kinds of like sorted things I need to pay for. No child support though. And I also, most importantly, this is the one thing, if you're going to do something today, go ahead and hop onto Amazon and get one of Lisa's novels. I highly recommend them.
Thank you.
Great.
Thanks
if you're
in advance.
Oh, Sarm got me over there. I do have a Zin addiction, right? I've been buying like the 5-pack rolls, I've actually, let me tell you real fast, you guys, let me tell you how bad my Zin addiction is, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm on my 8th Zin on this podcast that I popped in. Okay.
Nice.
All right. So
nice.
I'm freaking ready.
You should pop on one of those, like, I don't know if you'd even call it gray market. They sell out of the Isle of Man, a lot of these like tobacco product sellers, because it's kind of like this like gray area where they're actually able to ship it to Canada somehow. Anyway, so they sell all like the Swedish snus and shit where it's like extremely high milligrams of nicotine. And like Zyn only goes up to like what? Is it 9 or 12 milligrams?
I think it's 9.
So some of these are like 45 milligrams of nicotine in like one pouch. Yeah.
There's 15 milligram ones, not Zins, but like another brand, and I tried it and like it made me kind of nauseous. I
think if I tried anything higher than the 6 milligrams, I'd probably puke. Like it hits you pretty hard.
Yeah, no, the 14 or 16 or something I did a while ago. I was like, whoa! One of the guys I work with, he's like popping those 16s in, and I'm like, dude, you're fucking wild, man. I'm too old for that. My blood pressure, even though I went to the doctor's office recently and I had like a Zyn in, and I had like a giant like Red Bull, and bunch of coffee already, and I got my blood pressure, and I was like, great, I'm gonna have like 160 over like 120 or something, and I was like 110. I was like, whoa, okay, hell yeah. I'm just like, that's because I think my years of self-abuse has like made my like base body line homeostasis
your baseline,
at like I need to have a zen.
Keep telling yourself that. Keep telling yourself
that's what,
that.
until I die, I just drop dead on a live
Explode.
fucking stream and like oh fuck, my heart, all right, guys, but I do got to get going. I got to put my daughter to sleep. Fisto's already in bed. Thanks for chatting. Like, share, subscribe, and also
happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. Enjoy for the young guys. Enjoy trick or treating. I don't think there's any young people listening here. For the young guys, enjoy slutty Stitch costumes at the party. For the older people, take your kids out and have fun. For all you curmudgeon Jews that don't celebrate holidays like Fisto, just go ahead and do whatever you do. At least leave out some candy. You fucking.
I'm just gonna count my money. I'm just gonna count my money.
You count your podcast money.
Count my podcast money. It'll take me all of 20 minutes.
Yeah.
There's there's
you're
like
exaggerating there.
And I know this because I do have Jewish ancestry, right? I'm the resident Jewess, whatever. So I know, right? So there's the two. There's go for it. There's the two different ones. There's the ones that don't celebrate anything, and then there's the ones who are the ones that are handing out the full size chocolate bars. Like, here you go, like So it's so funny. Like, how we could even talk about like the fact that because Halloween is more of the secular holidays, you'll find kids of like every religion going out trick-or-treating, right? Like it's a very unifying, fun childhood thing for North American children to do. Like, it's just have a good time.
How on Halloween like people like dress like zombie nuns and stuff. Does anybody like? Would it be offensive to be like a vampire rabbi or like? is that anti-Semitic?
I'd probably laugh my ass off
because people dress as like nuns, like slutty nuns, and like evil priests and stuff. Can I just be like a rabbi?
If dressing like a Lord of the Rings orc is racist, then would dressing like a J.K. Rowling goblin, would that be anti-Semitic? Like, I don't know. I don't know. This is a question for the ages here, I guess. But we gotta go.
I'm gonna be a Grindelwald's banker next year.
Yeah.
/ rabbi. Anyway, there goes my YouTube channel, guys. Please like, share, and subscribe so it doesn't get banned. All you goblins, rabbis, vampires, slutty stitches. Have a great Halloween, and we'll see you next week at the same time, 5 o'clock Eastern time. And good night.